Hello, fans, and welcome to This Day in Baseball, where we're going to bring you a full radio broadcast of today's game. And before we do that, I just want to thank Classic Baseball Radio, and there's a link in the notes where you can check out their full channel. They have many great radio broadcasts. And while you're listening to today's game, if you want to check out much more about the game and the players, look on the links below, and you're going to see links to player pages, the date the game happened, the year it happened, and the play-by-play. Enjoy the game, and check out the links while you're watching the game, and please don't forget to hit the subscribe button so that every time new content comes out, you're going to get that firsthand. And thank you again for checking out This Day in Baseball, and enjoy the game.
Reach the Met, step right up and reach the Met. Bring your kiddies, bring your wife. Guaranteed to have the time of your life, because the Mets are really knocking the ball, knocking those home runs over the wall. East side, west side, everybody coming down to meet the N.E.T.S. Mets from New York.
From St. Louis, Missouri, the New York Mets are on the air as tonight Casey Stengel's New York Mets meet the St. Louis Cardinals of Johnny Keane in another game presented by Rheingold Extra Dry and Viceroy Cigarettes. Well, hi, everybody. This is Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner, all set to detail every exciting play in the opener of the four-game series here in St. Louis, Missouri. Now, here are the lineups and batting orders for tonight's game. Playing center field, batting leadoff, and making his debut for the New York Mets, 33-year-old Jimmy Pearsall from Waterbury, Connecticut. Playing second base and batting second, a native of St. Louis, Missouri, rookie Ron Hunt. In left field, batting third, Duke Snyder. Tim Harkness will be at first base, and Tim will be the cleanup hitter. Eddie Cranepool playing right field and batting number 5. Clarence Choo-Choo Coleman behind the plate batting 6th. Charlie Neal will be at third base hitting 7th. Chico Fernandez playing shortstop, batting 8th. On the mound and batting 9th, right-hander Roger Craig. For the St. Louis Cardinals, speedy Kurt Flood will be the center fielder leading off. Veteran Dick Grote playing shortstop and batting 2nd. Bill White will play first base and bat 3rd. Stan Musial in left field, batting cleanup. And the Cardinals take the field. Kenny Boyer at 3rd, hitting number 5. George Altman in right field, batting 6th. Julian Javier playing second base, batting 7th. Gene Oliver, whose home run won a game over the Cubs 1-0 in Chicago yesterday, behind the plate and batting 8th. And on the mound and batting 9th, Bob Gibson. Here, ladies and gentlemen, our national anthem. The playing of our national anthem. We're all set for the opener of the four-game set here in St. Louis. The umpiring alignment tonight, Al Foreman behind the plate. Long Island's Tom Gorman will be at first base. Big Stan Landis umpiring at second. And Ed Sudol will call the plays around third. On the mound tonight for St. Louis, one of the hardest throwers in baseball, 27-year-old Bob Gibson, former member of the Harlem Globetrotters. And Jimmy Pearsall will be leading off. Jimmy, acquired from the Washington Senators, colorful outfielder from Waterbury, Connecticut, reports to the New York Mets in top physical condition. Jimmy is wearing number 2, Marv Thornberry's old number. Here's the windup pitched by Gibson. A high fly ball hit to right center field, moving over George Altman and Kurt Flood, and Flood makes the catch in right center, 1 man away. Durasol went right after the first pitch, and Flood made the grab out by the warning path in right center. One away and nobody on. That'll bring up Ron Hunt. Well, this is an exciting night for 22-year-old Ron Hunt, the fine rookie second baseman of the New York Mets. Ron, a native of St. Louis, actually of Overland, Missouri, which is right out by the airport here in St. Louis. His mother and father are both here watching him play tonight. Pitch thrown by Gibson, a fastball over a call strike. Ron hitting at .298 to lead the New York Mets in batting. Bob Gibson, a 15-game winner last year, tonight trying to win his second game of the year. Slow ground ball back toward the mound, fielded by Gibson. He fires to first in time, getting Hunt. 2 up and 2 set aside by Bob Gibson. That'll bring up Duke Snider. Duke hitting .242 and leading the New York Mets in home runs with 7. And Snider has 17 runs batted in. Pitch thrown to Snider, a fastball up high. 1 ball and no strikes. Somebody sitting down on the upper deck with a big kettle and a spoon, banging on it to root for the Mets. Gibson working fast. Here's his pitch. A strike on the outside corner. 1 ball, 1 strike on Duke Snider. Here's the pitch on the way, a swing and a miss. Well, when you talk about some of the longest home runs ever hit at this storied old ballpark in St. Louis, they always tell you about the drives that Duke Snider, 2 of them hit off Murray Dixon. Drives that went over the wall way out in right center field out by the clock. The 1-2 delivery, a swing and a miss. He struck him out with a high hard one. Oh, Gibson really had something on that one. Not yet completely dark, and this fellow throws a blazing fastball. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. The score in the middle of the first inning, the Mets nothing, and the Cardinals coming to bat. Now here's a riddle for filter cigarette smokers. Now what slides right open, slides shut tight. That's 1,000 for convenience, and scores with a taste that's right 20 times. It's Viceroy's exclusive new slide top case. The greatest improvement in cigarette packaging since the flip open box. Crush proof like a box, it slides right open, slides shut tight. It works so easy and with just one hand. Inside, Viceroy. The filter cigarette that tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Now, fans, if you smoke all 7 leading filter brands, you'll find some taste too strong, just like the unfiltered kind. Others taste too light, and they take all the fun and flavor out of smoking. But Viceroy's not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. So next time you buy cigarettes, make it Viceroy in the exclusive slide top case or the familiar soft pack. Kurt Flood leads off for St. Louis in the last half of the first inning. Here's a right-hand batter with a world of running speed. He's hitting at .250. Roger Craig winds and pitches. A pop-up down the first baseline, calling for it, Tim Harkness. And Tim takes it in fair territory, 1 man down. Both leadoff batters retired on 1 pitch. 1 away and nobody on. That will bring up Dick Groat. Well, Dick off to another great start. He already has 59 base hits. Batting at .341 with 3 homers and 20 runs batted in. Dick Groat, outstanding star with the Pirates for so many years already, has found another very successful home here in St. Louis. Inside and high, 1 ball and no strikes. at the knees for a call strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. Dick is leading the National League in total base hits with 59. As a matter of fact, he leads the major leagues in that all-important matter of total hits. Pitch by Craig off the outside corner. 2 balls and a strike. Wes Covington continues to lead the National League in batting. He's hitting a robust 362. Ron Fairley at 350, and then Dick Groat 341. Now Craig with a 2-1 pitch. A drive hit foul going high in the air and off to the right. No play in the count, 2-2. Henry Aaron of the Braves and Leon Wagner of the Angels lead the major leagues in home runs, each with 13. Aaron leads the National League in RBIs with 34. Wagner the majors with 37. Cardinals start the game tonight 4.5 games behind first place San Francisco. They feel they have a chance to gain some ground playing the Mets over the weekend while the Dodgers and Giants collide in San Francisco. A smash up the middle, grabbed on a hop by Fernandez, pegged to first, in time to get it. Nice play by Chico Fernandez. He went in behind second base, came up with the ground ball with his glove hand stab, and then threw on to first in time. Now there are 2 away, nobody on. The batter is Bill White. White hitting at .312 with 6 home runs and 30 RBIs. Last year was a powerhouse year for Bill White, the Cardinal first baseman, and he appears to be well on his way toward another. Let's play him deep in the outfield and around toward right. Now the pitch on the way, a fastball over, a call strike on the inside corner. Well, this is the final stop of the road trip for New York. They'll return to New York following the Sunday doubleheader and open their homestand on Tuesday night. Outside and high, 1 ball, 1 strike. Cardinals as a team have a world of hitting power this year. Ron Hunt playing a stride into right field against Bill White. A towering pop-up to shallow right field. Ron Hunt scooting bout. Hunt is calling for it in short right. And Ron has it to retire the Cardinals. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. At the end of 1 inning, the score of the New York Mets, nothing, and the St. Louis Cardinals, nothing. Tomorrow, a day game will be on the air at 2:25. Sunday, a doubleheader will be on the air at 1:55 for the Sunday doubleheader. And then following the doubleheader, the Mets fly back to New York. Monday will be an open date, and Tuesday night, the New York Mets entertain Bob Kennedy and the Chicago Cubs. The Chicago Cubs, with about a fourth of the season now gone, have split their first 40 ball games. Cubs right now have won 20, lost 20, and they're 5.5 games out. They have been getting real good pitching from Dick Ellsworth. He lost the 1-0 game yesterday to Ernie Broglio in Chicago. From Bob Buell, from Larry Jackson, from Lindy McDaniel, and Don Elston, those 2 fine short relief pitchers. And the slugging has come from Ernie Banks and Ron Santo, as well as Billy Williams. While the Mets are away over this weekend, tickets will be on sale for the Cubs series at all future home games at the Polo Grounds, Grand Central Station near the 42nd and Vanderbilt ramp, and the Long Island waiting room of the Penn Station. Now Tim Harkness up against Bob Gibson, and the off-speed delivery is over. Strike 1 call. Pitch thrown by the hard-throwing right-hander is taken high. 1 ball and 1 strike. Tim batting at .250 with 3 homers and 15 runs batted in. Now the pitch on the way, zipped over the outside corner, a call strike. You can't work much faster than Bob Gibson is working right here. Tim Harkness hit a 2-run homer off Don Drysdale in the final game in Los Angeles, won by the Dodgers 7-3. Now the 1-2 pitch. Off the outside corner, 2 balls and 2 strikes. In order to make room for Jimmy Pearsall in the lineup tonight against the Cardinals, the New York Mets have optioned Chris Cannizzaro to Buffalo. And tomorrow, Sammy Taylor will join the New York Mets. He's hit by the pitch. That ball hit him on the leg And Harkness goes down to first base. It was a real hard fastball thrown by Gibson. That might very well stiffen up and be a little bit sore a half an hour from now.
I don't think you have to wait a half an hour, Bob. I'm sure that's a little sore right now.
He really threw that one hard, didn't he, Ralph?
Oh, he throws hard. He's one of the hardest throwers in baseball, and he's fast here tonight, and it's a little bit cold.
Jimmy Pearsall getting a rugged baptism to break into the National League against a hard thrower like Gibson. Pitch to Eddie Cranepool is taken ball one. He may be asking his teammates in the dugout, do they all throw like this in the National League? Nobody out. Tim Harkness on first base. Now the pitch by Gibson. A swing and a miss on a high hard one. 1 ball and 1 strike. Holding against Tim Harkness at first base. Third game of the year between the Mets and the St. Louis Cards. Now the 1-1 pitch. Fouled, back upstairs and out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Sally Hemus on the lines at first and Cookie Lamagetto coaching at third. Gil Hodges made his debut managing the Washington club in Baltimore last night, and Gil ran into an old National League nemesis named Robin Roberts. Now Harkness with a short lead off first, and a throw to first by Bob Gibson not in time. To a man, all the players who were polled of the ex-Dodger teammates of Gil's, both of the Mets and the Dodgers, to a man, all thought that Gil would do well. Foul tipped. Oliver unable to hang on to that one. As a matter of fact, he's hit on the forearm by the foul tip. 1 ball and 2 strikes. One of the most exciting games we saw all last year was a game involving Bob Gibson. On the 27th of July last year, he hooked up in a mound duel with Alvin Jackson. The Mets won the game 1-0. Pitching 1 and 2. In the dirt, Oliver makes a good play, scooting on his shin guards off to the right to hang on to it in the count 2 and 2. Base hits have been rather hard to come by for Eddie on this road trip. He has been in somewhat of a batting slump, and usually when a hitter does go into a slump, they also make some top-notch fielding plays on him. Low, ball 3, 3 and 2. Dick Trzeski, the shortstop of the Dodgers, made a superb play to take a hit away from Eddie Cranepool in that final game in Los Angeles. Now the count is 3 and 2 on Cranepool. Harkness on first, nobody out, top of the second, and no score in the game. Choo-Choo Coleman, the on-deck hitter. There goes the runner. The pitch inside. It's ball 4, and Cranepool goes down to first. Now on a hit batsman and a walk, the New York Mets have runners on first and second, nobody out. That brings up Choo-Choo Coleman. Choo-Choo hitting at 179. Now the Cardinals look for the bunt. Boyer even with the bag at third. Bill White back toward fielding depth at first. Way inside. That one almost nicked him. 1 ball and no strikes. Gibson so far this year has been bothered by wildness. His last time out in 6 innings, he walked 4. Here's the pitch on the way. A smash foul going down the right field line. Choo-Choo got around on that one. He ripped it, and it goes foul. 1 ball, 1 strike. This year, Bob Gibson has been beaten twice by Cincinnati, once by the Braves. He beat the Dodgers 10-7. Against the Mets last year, he won 2 and lost 1. Right now, the count 1-1 on Choo-Choo Coleman. Charlie Neal, the on-deck hitter. Pitch by Gibson. Off the outside corner, and Choo-Choo ignores it, 2-1. Day game tomorrow and a doubleheader Sunday, and then the Mets will be coming home to open a good homestand. They'll entertain 5 different National League ball clubs on the next homestand. Danny Murtaugh brings Pittsburgh in for the first time this year. He bunts it foul, coming right straight back in the count 2-2. Johnny Keane and the Cardinals will be in on that next homestand. They play in New York on the 7th, 8th, and 9th of June. That's a weekend 4-game series. A night game on Friday night, a Ladies' Day game on Saturday, and a doubleheader on Sunday, the 9th of June. Now 2 runners take a lead. Count 2-2 on Choo-Choo. A foul ball off the fist, back upstairs and out of play. When Sammy Taylor joins New York here in St. Louis tomorrow, that means that Casey will have to dispose of one player in order to make room for him. Now Gibson makes the stop. Here's his pitch to Choo-Choo. A high drive that may go foul. Well hit deep to right field, and it's going to be a foul ball off the facing of the upper deck. Choo-Choo leaned into that one, but it was foul by 8 or 10 yards down the right field line off the facing of the upper deck. Tim Harkness on second. He was hit by a pitch. Eddie Kranepool on first. Eddie drew a walk. Now the pitch. Low, it's ball 3, and the string is out 3-2. Gibson got in front on Eddie Kranepool, but Eddie had a good eye and drew a walk on 3-2. When it was 3-2 on Kranepool, Harkness was running. Let's keep an eye on the runners now. Gibson a flamethrower. 2 runners take a lead. There go the runners. The pitch is high, ball 4, and the bases are loaded. Bob Gibson with a hit batsman and 2 walks. The bases now loaded, and Charlie Neal coming on to hit. Charlie hitting at .225 with 1 homer and 9 RBIs. The Cardinals now have the infield willing to concede a run to try and get 2, and the outfield playing him to hit the opposite way. Fastball high, 1 ball and no strikes. Gibson has been wild high with that blazing fastball so far here in the 2nd inning. Harkness, the lead runner on 3rd. Next pitch on the way. A ground ball bounced towards second base. It goes through to center field for a base hit. 1 run is in. Kranepool digging for the plate. He'll come in to score, and the Mets lead 2-0. Charlie Neal with a nice level swing, belting a ground single right back up the middle. Just beyond the reach of Julian Javier. He tried to flag it down on a backhand play in back of second. So give Neal 2 runs batted in, and the Mets lead 2-0. Runners on 1st and 3rd. Choo-Choo raced from 1st around to 3rd. And the hitter now is Chico Fernandez. Now Gibson off the stretch. Still nobody out. Here's the pitch. He bunts the ball, and it's a foul ball. Foul ball. Foul ball because he bunted it twice before he got out of the batter's box. On the backlash, it was bunted into the ground a second time. So it's a foul ball, and Fernandez will have to come back. Suicide squeeze play wasn't on. Choo-Choo was waiting to see whether or not the ball was on the ground. Mets 2 and the Cardinals nothing. Runners on 1st and 3rd. Nobody out. Now Gibson with a full windup and the pitch on the way. Taken up high. Charlie Neal broke and started to go, then slammed on the brakes. Figured perhaps he couldn't make it. 1 ball and 1 strike. Gibson forgot and worked from the windup. Runners on first and third. Choo-Choo's on third, and Charlie Neal with a 2-run single is on first. The 1-1 pitch. Swing and a miss by Fernandez. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Roger Craig crouched in the on-deck circle. The old professor, Casey Stengel, has his left leg propped up near the top step of the dugout as he watches all the goings-on. Now Gibson with a count of 1-2. The pitch to Fernandez. A ground ball hit slowly on the right side. Fumbled by Javier. Now he throws to first in time, getting Fernandez. And Coleman comes in to score to make it 3-0. Give Fernandez an RBI. Ball was hit down toward the end of the bat. It had a lot of spin on it. It wasn't hit too hard. Javier had trouble picking it up. He wasn't going to try to make a play on the plate on that one. So give Fernandez an RBI. So the New York Mets, who hadn't scored a run for Roger Craig in 26 1/3 innings, now have 3 home for him here in the top of the second. Roger, the batter, with Neal on second, 1 down. A slow grounder back toward the mound. Gibson throws to first. Neal races on to third after he turns to throw loose, as Gibson did not bother to look him back. Now there are 2 away, and coming up the hit will be Jimmy Pearsall. Jimmy tapping the dirt out of his spikes. Pearsall now in his 13th year at Major League Baseball. He's had some great years. He is just as happy as he can be to be with the New York Mets and to play for Casey Stengel. He has always been very fond of Casey. Outside and low, it's ball 1. As a youngster, when he was playing in right field for Lou Boudreau with the Red Sox, and they used to battle the New York Yankees, Casey many times acclaimed his outstanding fielding and helped him to become a good ball player. A foul ball wafted back upstairs and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Pearsall 0 for 1. He flied to right center in the first inning. Now the pitch by Gibson, whacked foul off to the right. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Charlie Neal on third. 3 runs are in. There are 2 away. We're in the top of the second. Gibson with that big windup. Now the pitch. Outside and high, 2-2. Ralph, this fellow doesn't waste any time out there.
He works fast, and also that ball gets to the plate awfully fast, too.
Now Pearsall wagging the bat around, cocks it off the right shoulder. Jimmy bends from the waist. Feet close together. For a number of years now, Jimmy and his big family have made their home in Newtonville, Massachusetts. Too high, it's ball 3. Jim is now in the process of moving his family as soon as school is out to Hyannisport. Full count on Pearsall, now 3-2. Jim is the 7th man up against Gibson in the inning. Ball 4, it's up high, and Pearsall walks. That's the 3rd walk given up in the inning by Bob Gibson. And it brings up Ron Hunt. Ron 0 for 1 was thrown out by Gibson in the first inning. Now the New York Mets have runners on first and third. 3 runs are in, 2 men down. And for the first time, we have a little stirring around now in the Cardinal bullpen. Now Gibson off the stretch, delivers to Hunt. Ball 1, inside and low. Another fellow who really throws hard, too, is now warming up in the Cardinal bullpen, and that's rookie right-hander Harry Fanok. F-A-N-O-K. Mets hit against Fanok in spring training down in St. Petersburg, and they were really extolling his fastball. Here's the pitch on the way. Ground ball bounced towards second. Big hop for Javier. He whips it on to Bill White, and the side is out. 8 men came up. 3 runs came in. On 1 hit. No errors and 2 left on. At the end of an inning and a half, the score of the New York Mets 3 and the St. Louis Cardinals 0. Well, you know, you can't really tell if a pitcher has it until you see how he does against the top hitters around the circuit. You know, the same thing goes for the taste of filter cigarettes. The only real test is to put the leaders up against each other and see which one has the taste that's right. Now, if you smoke all 7 leading filter brands, you'll find some taste too strong. If you didn't see the filter, you probably wouldn't know it was there. And some taste too light. The filter seems to take all the fun and flavor out of smoking. But Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Now, how about checking that Viceroy taste for yourself? The next time you buy cigarettes, make it Viceroy in the familiar soft pack or the new slide top case. Either way, Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Viceroy, that's right. Right here, let's pause for station identification.
This is the voice of the Mets in the Great Northeast, WGY Schenectady, a General Electric station. The time, 29 minutes until 10.
Bob Murphy with Ralph Kiner and Lindsey Nelson from St. Louis. The leadoff hitter is Stan the Man Musial facing Roger Craig. Stan has 6 homers this year. Outside and low, it's ball 1. Musial already in the double figures in RBIs. He has driven 20 runs in. Now the windup pitch by Craig. A high fly ball hit deep to right field. This one is up. And there it goes, a home run. Musial hit with real authority. Career-wise for Stan Musial, and he's zeroing in on 500. He's 30 more now. That's 470 home runs. High fly hit deep to right center and actually up over the rooftop level in right center. Now Kenny Boyer up against Roger Craig. Slider on the outside corner, strike 1 call. Outfield around toward left. Mets 3 and the Cardinals 1. A smash hit hard towards short, a base hit beyond the reach of Fernandez. Boyer takes the turn at first. He'll hold up there. Kenny Boyer was hitting .304 when he came up, and that brings up George Altman. Altman hitting .276 with 2 homers and 15 runs batted in. Jimmy Pearsall swings around to right center against George Altman. Here's the pitch by Craig. Curve is over, a call strike. Down in the dugout before the game, Jimmy was saying to Roger Craig, now don't hesitate to move me around wherever you want me, left or right, back or up, because you're the fellow that knows the hitters. Here's the pitch to him. Swing and a miss, strike 2. Roger calls Choo-Choo out toward the mound. For tonight's game, the Mets have but 2 catchers, Clarence Coleman and Norm Sherry. Sammy Taylor is due to join the team tomorrow. Sammy hurt his arm during the Florida Instructional League play and tried to work it out during spring training and then went on to Buffalo to get in real tip-top shape. Pitch to Altman off the outside corner. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Joe Schultz on the coaching lines at first for St. Louis and Vern Benson on the lines at third. A throw to first, not in time. Boyer diving back in. Throw to first, not in time. Roger Craig with that real swift pickoff motion of his going to work on Kenny Boyer. Pitch throw Hoffman in the dirt, blocked out in front of the plate by Choo-Choo. There's no advance. Then Choo-Choo throws to first base. Not in time. Roger up in pitching position. Delivers to Hoffman, a ground ball hit hard to Hunt. He flips over to Fernandez. One on to first. Double save at first base. They get the lead runner, Ken Boyer. He has taken off the lines, and on a very close play at first, George Altman is safe. That brings up Julian Javier. Javier batting at .270, 4 home runs and 10 RBIs. That's 3 in the Cardinals 1. Pitched by Craig, bunted. Off the hill comes Craig. Backhand grab, the throw. He's out at first base. Beautiful fielding play by Roger Craig. It'll go as a sacrifice as Altman moves on to second, but it was certainly not intended as such. Javier was bunting all the way, trying for a base hit. Well, it's time to relax with a Viceroy cigarette. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Now for the Redbirds, the hitter is catcher Gene Oliver. He hit his 5th home run of the year in Chicago yesterday, and it won a game for Ernie Broglio and St. Louis, 1-0. Oliver hasn't been hitting for an average, but he has been hitting for a long ball. Pitch thrown by Roger. Inside and low, 1 ball and no strikes. Now Roger wants to talk to Choo-Choo. Ralph, what do you think about the deal we saw in the papers this morning with Bob Skinner and Jerry Lynch changing ball clubs?
Well, you'd have to guess from that the Pirates are going to go along with their new acquisition in left field in place of Bob Skinner. That's Savage that they got for the Philadelphia Phillies. And they're looking for some pinch hitting from the bench. And, of course, Jerry Lynch is one of the best at that. And Skinner should help the Cincinnati ball club because he'll be hitting in a ballpark that has a short center field fence, and his power is straight away.
Now Oliver, the batter, the pitch by Craig. Foul ball hit down the third baseline. Those Pirates who come to New York for the first time on that next homestand, they have really committed themselves to go with their young talent. Bill Mazeroski, a veteran from a standpoint of Major League experience, but still a young man, is really the only experienced man in the infield. Don Clendenin, Dick Schofield, who has been a utility player until this year, and then the $175,000 bonus youngster, Bob Bailey, at third. One run in, 2 down. We're in the last half of the second. Altman leading off second. A smash hit hard, and it's a base hit over the bag going in foul ground down toward the bullpen. Altman comes in to score, and Oliver goes into second with a hard hit 2-base hit. He really smashed that one. Neal tried to make a backhand play, but that ball was over his head and going down the line before he could get over there. So the Cardinals fighting right back in. It is now a 3-2 ball game, and the hitter is Bob Gibson. This fella is a real good hitting pitcher. He's batting at .308, 4 for 13. Cardinals now have picked up a single, double, and home run off Craig here in the last half of the second. Now Roger up in pitching position. Gibson, a right-hand batter. Low, it's ball 1. That's 3 and the Cardinals 2. Cardinals have the tying run. Oliver on second. A foul ball hit off the end of the bat. This will be upstairs and out of play. 1 ball and 1 strike. Down the left field line to the seats, 351. Straight away in center field, 422. The short porch is right field, but it has a high screen. It's 310 feet. The 1-1 delivery. A ground ball hit down the first baseline, going foul. 1 ball, 2 strikes now on the opposing pitcher, Bob Gibson. Swing and a miss. He struck him out. Roger Craig fanning Bob Gibson to retire the side. St. Louis getting back into the thick of it on 2 runs, 3 hits. No errors and 1 left on. 2 innings complete. The score of the New York Mets 3 and the St. Louis Cardinals. Now here we go to the 3rd inning, and as we do so, let's go with a fellow who 17 years ago played his first Major League game right here in St. Louis. Ralph Kiner.
Thank you, Bob, and hi there, everyone. Here is Duke Snyder, who was the only man not to bat in the last inning, and the first pitch to Duke by Bob Gibson is popped up in the air. The second baseman moving back into shallow right field makes the play. So Snyder to Javier for out number 1 as Bob Gibson starts to work here in the top of the 3rd. Score is 3-2 in favor of the Mets. They scored 3 runs on only 1 hit in the second inning when they sent 8 men to the plate. Tim Harkness now the batter. Tim was hit by a pitch ball and scored the first run of the game, his first time up, and he looks at a fastball for strike 1. Harkness batting .258. He has 3 home runs and 15 runs batted in. Tim, a left-hand batter, and there's a check in the swing. It's in time. 1 ball, 1 strike. Gibson looking for his second victory of the year. He has a 1-3 record, and the big right-hander lets up outside, the ball way outside. 2 balls and 1 strike. Bob, at one time, an outstanding basketball player. He played for the Globetrotters. Number 45, he swings and comes back to Tim Harkness, and the pitch is inside for ball 3. 3 balls and 1 strike. Gibson so far in the game has walked 3 men, and now the windup for the 3-1 pitch, and it's high for ball 4. So Harkness walks to first base, and that will bring up Ed Craneball. Ed walked in the second inning, later on scored a run on a 2-run single by Charlie Neal. So Ed officially not at bat in this game. He's batting .218. He has 1 home run and 7 runs batted in. Now Bill White comes off first base to talk to Gibson on the mound. Here in the top of the 3rd, the score 3-2 in favor of the Mets. There's a hard smash right through the middle into center field, a base hit. Harkness rounds at second base. He goes to third unmolested. And Ed Craneball comes through with a base hit to put runners at first and third. That is hit number 2 off Gibson. And we'll probably see some more action in the bullpen. Earlier, the Cardinals had a man up and throwing. Still no, now we got the action going. They're getting off the bench once again. Earlier, Harry Bannock was up and drawing. Looks like it's the same one getting up right now. Time called on the play. The ball hit through the middle by Ed Craneball. Javier, the second baseman, dove for the ball. Now he's being brushed off and being checked out by the trainer for the St. Louis Cardinals, Bob Bowman. Doesn't appear to be hurt seriously, possibly a little bit of a scratch. Well, we have a little bit of time to check on the scores. Houston defeated the Cubs 6-5. The Cubs will be in the Polo Grounds to open up the Mets homestand of 15 games coming May 28th. That'll be a night game, the first game, a doubleheader on the 30th, Memorial Day. 20 pitcher for Houston, Hal Woodashek. Pittsburgh trailing Milwaukee 1-0 after 2.5. Brandon Spahn in that one, 2 veterans. The only run of the game scored in a home run by Hank Aaron, his 14th of the year. Philadelphia 0, Cincinnati 0 after 2 innings. McClish and Perky. L.A. scheduled at San Francisco and a real big one out of the coast. Warren Giles, the National League president, sent a telegram to the San Francisco Giants just to make sure that there would not be any unnecessary water placed on the field for this series. If you recall, The trainer, I should say the groundskeeper for the Giants, had watered down Candlestick Park, slow down Maury Wills in the Dodgers last year. Now chime in, and the first pitch to Choo-Choo Coleman popped up by home plate. Gene Oliver waiting, and he makes the catch, breaking off at first base, but holding now is Ed Kranepool. So Coleman goes out on one pitch for out number 2. Harkness at third base, so the Mets now will bring up Charlie Neal with the runners remaining at first and third. The score 3-2 in favor of the Mets. We're in the top of the third inning. The St. Louis Cardinals have 2 men out. The Cardinals have won both games played so far between these two clubs. One out here in the top of the third. The score 3-2 in favor of the Mets. There's a hard smash right through the middle into center field, a base hit. Harkness rounds at second base. He goes to third unmolested. And Ed Kranepool comes through with a base hit to put runners at first and third. That is hit number 2 off Gibson. And we'll probably see some more action in the bullpen. Earlier, the Cardinals had a man up and throwing. Still no, now we got the action going. They're getting off the bench once again. Earlier, Harry Fanuc was up and throwing. Looks like it's the same one getting up right now. Time called on the play. The ball hit through the middle by Ed Kranepool. Javier, the second baseman, dove for the ball. Now he's being brushed off and being checked out by the trainer for the St. Louis Cardinals, Bob Bowman. He doesn't appear to be hurt seriously, possibly a little bit of a scratch. Well, we have a little bit of time to check on the scores. Houston defeated the Cubs 6-5. The Cubs will be in the Polo Grounds to open up the Mets homestand of 15 games coming May 28th. That'll be a night game, the first game. A doubleheader on the 30th, Memorial Day. 20 pitcher for Houston, Hal Woodashek. Pittsburgh trailing Milwaukee 1-0 after 2.5. Brandon Spahn in that one, 2 veterans. The only run of the game scored in a home run by Hank Aaron, his 14th of the year. Philadelphia 0, Cincinnati 0 after 2 innings. McClish and Perky. L.A. scheduled at San Francisco and a real big one out on the coast. Warren Giles, the National League president, sent a telegram to the San Francisco Giants just to make sure that there would not be any unnecessary water placed on the field for this series. If you recall, the trainer, I should say the groundskeeper for the Giants, had watered down Candlestick Park, slow down Maury Wills in the Dodgers last year. Now chime in, and the first pitch to Choo-Choo Coleman popped up by home plate. Gene Oliver waiting, and he makes the catch, breaking off at first base, but holding now is Ed Kranepool. So Coleman goes out on one pitch for out number 2. Harkness at third base, so the Mets now will bring up Charlie Neal with the runners remaining at first and third. The score 3-2 in favor of the Mets. We're in the top of the third inning. The St. Louis Cardinals have 2 men out. The Cardinals have won both games played so far between these two clubs. They won the first 2 games of the year, defeating Roger Craig in the opening day game. Roger working in this one. Now the set position, and the pitch to Charlie Neal, a fastball, a blazing fastball, a swing and a miss for strike 1. Gibson really had something on that one. Charlie drove in 2 runs his last time up with a base hit right through the middle. Mets added 1 more run on a ground out. They scored 3 in the second on 1 hit. Now the right-hander comes back to the plate with a fastball. He throws it by Neal. It's fouled off to the right side for strike 2. Neal not getting around. Bob Gibson was third in the National League in strikeouts last year. Don Drysdale was the National League leader. Bob this year off to a slow start. Now he comes back, and there's a line shot, but fouled on the right field side again. Once again, Neal a little bit late in the swing. Last year, Gibson struck out 208 men. Drysdale led the league with 232 strikeouts. Drysdale right now leads the National League in strikeouts, just ahead of Sandy Koufax. There's a slider, and it's just outside. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Gibson's real good pitch is his fastball, but he has a real good slider to go along. That's the way he'll work in a ball game. Fastball and slider. He'll change up once in a while, but not too effectively. 3-2 Mets lead. We're in the top of the third inning. Runners at first and third for New York, and there's a swing and a miss for strike 3, and the bat goes out of the hand of Charlie Neal as he tries to pick up the slider. Bat flying on down toward third base. That strikeout, the third in the game to retire the side, and the Mets in the third inning, no runs, no hits. I should say 1 hit. No errors, 2 men left, and the score at the end of 2 1/2 innings of play. The New York Mets 3, the St. Louis Cardinals 2. Well, here's another Rheingold riddle for you. Check this situation. Runners on first and second, 1 out. When the batter hits foul toward the third base dugout, the third baseman makes the catch and then falls into the dugout. Now, can the runners advance after the catch or what? Think about it. Ready? Well, both runners may advance 1 base, since the third baseman being in the dugout was technically off the ball field. You know, we hope you enjoy our Rheingold riddles just as we hope you enjoy Rheingold Extra Dry. Here's a beer that is easy to enjoy. I mean, it's so much more refreshing than other beers. Dry tells you why. Rheingold has a taste that's brisk and bright and clean clear through. So enjoy the beer that's easy to get along with. Rheingold Extra Dry.
Ralph, we have real spacious dugouts in this ballpark, and if you can go down in that dugout and make the catch and be on your feet, everything is all right.
That's right, Bob. Now we start to work as Roger Craig comes in with his first pitch at the bottom half of the third to Kurt Flood. It's swung on and fouled off for strike 1. Well, you have different situations in different ballparks, and of course that's what they discussed before the game, the ground rules of the individual ballparks.
I think these are about the roomiest dugouts we encounter across the league, aren't they?
Well, I'll tell you one thing, Bob. Years ago, they were the worst. You had to sit triple decking in the old ones. The guy in the back deck couldn't even see the fly balls hit to the outfield. They were really squashed together, and of course, when they renovated the ballpark, they did make a tremendous change. Kurt Flood, a right-hand batter against Roger Craig, and the pitch back to the plate is a curveball outside. 1 ball, 1 strike. Boy, the old clubhouses here used to be horrible, too. They fixed them up.
They have done a great job on renovating this ballpark.
Now back to Flood. There's a swing and a miss for strike 2. 1 ball and 2 strikes. The only thing they didn't change, though, they left that left field fence way out there, 351 feet away. And, of course, that's not too fair for the right-hand batter. Right field, right on top. It's only 310. And, of course, Enos Slaughter and Stan Musial made a real living off that right field screen. There's a pitch back, a line drive to left center. Could go for extra bases. Snyder chases it down. It's going to go off of the wall. Snyder picks it up. Flood's going to go for third. Here comes the throw. It's going to be too late. Kurt Flood, and the throw gets by, but Roger Craig is backing up the play. Kurt Flood pulling in the third base. The throw going by Charlie Neal, but Roger right behind the play. 3-base hit for the speedy center fielder. Some action starting in the bullpen for the New York Mets. It's Ken McKenzie up, getting ready to throw. Roger Craig now in a position of giving up the tying run. Flood leading off in the bottom half of the third inning with a 3-base hit, and now Dick Grote comes up to bat. Dick was retired on a fine play by the shortstop Chico Fernandez, his first time up. Chico going to his left, getting the ball and back at second base. A right-hand batter on at third base, and now it's Dick Grote in the batter's box. Grote started the ball game hitting .341, and he looks at an inside pitch for ball 1. Infield playing back. The score 3-2. The Mets lead bottom half of the third inning. No one out. Cardinals with 4 base hits in the ball game, and now Craig winds and deals to Dick Grote. There's a drive to right center. It's going to be extra bases. Ball off of the wall. Scoring from third base is Flood, and Dick Grote goes into second base standing up. And that ties up the ball game at 3-3. Batted in number 21 for Dick, who's having a great year for the St. Louis Cardinals. He's really happy over here. He certainly has helped build this ball club into a pennant contender. Still no one out, and the batter will be Bill White, a left-hander, as Choo-Choo Coleman talks on the mound to Roger Craig. Mets scored 3 runs in the top of the second, but the Cardinals came back to close the gap by scoring 2 runs in the bottom half of the second, and now they have tied it up here in the bottom half of the third. It's 3-3. Bill White popped out to the second baseman his first time up. He's a left-hand batter, batting .312. 6 home runs and 30 runs batted in, and there's a fly ball to shallow right field. Eddie Cranepool is there. Tagged up at second is Dick Grote. Cranepool makes the catch. The throw goes across and is cut off by Chico Fernandez, and Fernandez chases Grote back into second. So Roger has picked up his first out here in the bottom half of the third. The score tied 3-3, and up comes Stan Musial. Stan had a long home run to right center field on the roof of the pavilion out there his first time up. The home run was his 7th of the year. And career-wise, he has now a total of 470. Stan batting .240 this year, but he's hit with good power. Still crouching in that familiar stance. Not quite as deep in the crouch as he used to be, but still a very familiar sight. Here's the pitch to Stan. A curveball low for ball 1. Musial also not keeping his feet as close together as he used to. He used to have them almost touching. Now he's spread out just a little bit, maybe about a foot apart. Stands deep in the box like he always used to. A little bit closer to the plate than when he first came up. He used to stand even further back in his earlier days. That was when he hit more balls to left field. And he looks again for ball 2. Stan, of course, then learned how to pull and went for the home runs. He has 470 now, so in order to hit that many home runs, you have to be up a little closer to the plate to pull the outside pitch to right field. 2 balls and no strikes. Roger Craig working to the great man, Stan Musial. Here's a surefire cinch for the Hall of Fame. He'll have to wait 5 years, but he'll get the first ballot, I'm sure. And the pitch back by Craig is on the outside corner. So Roger has his first strike here against Stan the man. They count 2 balls and 1 strike. 1 out, the score tied 3-3. Ken McKenzie working in the bullpen for the Mets. He's a left-hand pitcher. Jimmy Pearsall in center field playing over in right center. He's playing Stan to pull. There's a pitch that's outside, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike. The on-deck batter, Ken Boyer. St. Louis Cardinals with a real powerhouse ball club. They have good balance. And the man at second base who is on there has certainly added to their balance by being a real great hit-and-run man. Dick Grote on at second base. Good speed in the leadoff position in Kurt Flood. Now the pitch back, a 3-1 pitch, ball foul. So the count moves up to 3 balls and 2 strikes. Third batter, Bill White, one of the top men in baseball with the bat. And, of course, Stan Musial batting cleanup tonight. No question there about his ability. Ken Boyer batting 5th, real strong batter. George Altman in right field not doing as well as expected, but he's had good records in back. And there's Javier and Oliver, so they have a well-balanced lineup. If there's one thing the Cardinals do lack, it would be depth in pitching. They have 4 good starters. They're working now trying to get Gibson back in the swing and be their 5th man. There's a pitch to Musial, bounced down to first base, dug out by Tim Harkness. Roger Craig covering at first, makes the play for out number 2. Moving to third on the play is Dick Grote, and Roger now with the score tied 3-3. And with 2 out, will work to Ken Boyer. Boyer singled to center field his first time up. Batting at .304, 5 home runs and 31 runs batted in. He's a right-hand batter. Outfield playing Boyer straight away. Infield not too deep because he runs well, but straight away. Roger reading the signs from Choo-Choo Coleman. Score tied 3-3. 2 men out here in the bottom half of the third inning. Dick Grote at third, leading off, and here's the pitch to Boyer. It's hit off the fist straight up in the air. Choo-Choo Coleman throws away the mask. He waits, and he backs into fair territory to make the catch. That retires the side. In the inning for the Cardinals, they tied up on 1 run. They had 2 hits, triple and a double. There were no errors. 1 man was left on. And the score at the end of 3 innings of play, the Cardinals 3, the New York Mets 3. Well, here's some good news for you fans who are looking forward to finding out more about your favorite Met players. The Mets yearbook is so popular that it now has gone into a second edition, with the first edition completely sold out. The second and revised edition contains biographical and statistical data on Duke Snider, Ed Kranepool, Ron Hunt, Carl Woolley, and this 4-colored book with Mr. Met on the front cover contains over 100 pictures of your favorite Mets, as well as many special articles. There are stories about Casey Stengel and the coaches, Shea Stadium, the new Stadiorama scoreboard, the Met farm system, and many other features. It's a must for any sports library. And to obtain your copy of the revised 1963 Met Yearbook, send 50 cents to Met Yearbook, Polo Grounds, New York 39, New York. Top of the 4th inning now as Bob Gibson gets ready to work to his first man, Chico Fernandez. And the first pitch is a slider outside, ball 1. Fernandez drove in a run in the second inning when he bounced to second base. The outscored Choo-Choo Coleman, who was on third. That gave the Mets their 3rd run. The Cardinals tied it up with a run in the bottom half of the 3rd. There's a pitch back that's a strike call. 1 ball, 1 strike. Bob Gibson, 27 years of age. He is 1-3 this year, working on the mound. And the right-hander gets a foul strike on a curveball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Fernandez batting .231. He has 1 home run and 3 runs batted in. And add 1 more to it here tonight to make it 4. And Gibson with a slider picks up a strikeout as he gets Fernandez to swing. And while we wait for Roger Craig to come out, we'll use the opportunity to pause for station identification.
This is the voice of the Mets in the great Northeast, WGY Schenectady, the smoothest sound around. The time is now 1 minute past 10 o'clock.
Ralph Kiner along with Bob Murphy and Lindsey Nelson from St. Louis, Missouri. We're in the top of the 4th inning. Roger Craig the batter. The score tied 3-3, 1 out. And the pitch to Roger. The first one, a strike, a swing and a miss. The right-hander back to the plate, and he misses outside for ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Now Gibson back to work, and he gets a swing and a miss with a fastball. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Roger grounded out right back to the mound his first time up. He has 1 hit and 23 trips to the plate. Now the slider outside. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Bob Gibson on the mound, taking a sign from Gene Oliver, and now the pitch back, a fastball that's low. So Roger has the count full of 3-2. The score tied 3-3. The Cardinals have 1 out here in the top of the 4th inning. The on-deck batter, Jimmy Pearsall. Pearsall wearing number 2 for the Mets. There's the ball hit sharply to center field. Flood will have to go way back. He's back there, and he makes the catch. That ball right back by the warning track, and that's the hardest ball Roger Craig has hit in quite some time. Flood playing a shallow center field, had a long run, but he had plenty of room. Center field located 425 feet away. And Gibson gets Roger Craig for out number 2. That'll bring up Jimmy Pearsall looking for his first National League hit. The first pitch to Pearsall popped up high in the air to shallow center. Flood charging, going back to shortstop Grote. Grote calls, and he makes the catch to retire the side. 3 up and 3 down for Bob Gibson. And the score at the end of 3.5 innings of play, the New York Mets 3, the St. Louis Cardinals 3. You know, what was true in 1910 was true in 1940, and it's certainly true today, too. I'm talking about baseball players. The mark of a real great player in 1910 is the same as in 1963. Truly great player has that extra something. He's got the ability to come up with a big hit or make that extra special catch at the right time. And it's that extra something that makes him great. That's true with beer, too. Rheingold has that extra something that, well, it lifts it out of the ordinary class. And it's on every label. Extra dry. Yes, those 2 words tell you why Rheingold is beer as beer should taste. Tell you why Rheingold is a truly great beer. Rheingold Extra Dry has a flavor that's brisk and bright and clean, clear through. It's, well, it's everything you want in beer. Quenches your throat and thirst a lot quicker. Certainly much more refreshing. And most of all, it's easy to enjoy. But you find that out for yourself. Next time, enjoy Rheingold Extra Dry. See why millions say, my beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Bottom half of the 4th inning, a tie ball game. The score 3-3, and it'll be George Hoffman against Roger Craig as Roger gets ready to work. So far, Roger has given up 3 runs. He has allowed 5 base hits while striking out 1 and walking none. First pitch to Hoffman, bounced in the hole, going over his hunt. He picks it up, throws to Craig. The ball is dropped. Ron Hunt made a great play to come up with the ball. Tim Harkness at first base had moved on to try and get it. He couldn't get to it. Roger Craig came off the mound to cover. Hunt came up with the ball back in the grass, and he made a good throw to Roger Craig. But Roger, trying to find the bag, couldn't find the ball, and the ball bounced out of the glove. So it's going to be an error charge to Roger Craig, and the St. Louis Cardinals now have the tie-breaking run at first base with no one out. Batter coming up, Julian Javier, and he has just talked with Johnny Keane. Make it Joel Schultz, who's the third base coach. Javier, a right-hand batter with good speed, has officially not been to bat. He laid down a punt that was credited as a sacrifice punt his first time up. And the first pitch is a ball inside. Javier was not bunting for sacrifice his first time up. He was bunting for a base hit, but because there was a runner on first base at the time, he got credit for a sacrifice. This is one of the odd rules in baseball. Once again, Ken McKenzie up and throwing in the bullpen. Throw to first base, chases George Hoffman back. 3-3 game. No one out here in the bottom half of the 4th inning. Roger now sets and goes to first again. Altman, a good base runner, with a short lead, gets back ahead of the throw. Cardinals have real good speed. Ironically, Dick Groat is one of their slower men, and he's their shortstop. Here's the throw to first this time. Altman was moving towards second. He had to hurry to get back. He made it, though. No one out. And now Javier stepping out of the batter's box. And here's a pitch to Javier, hit in the hole. It's going to go on through. Hoffman moving, sliding to second base. He didn't know where the ball was. Coming up with the ball in left field is Duke Snyder, and the throw goes into the shortstop. George Hoffman on the play, slid into second base. There was no play there at all. He didn't know where the ball was, and because he slid, he had no chance to move to third on the hit-and-run play. So, an error and a base hit. Hit number 6 off Roger Craig, and the Cardinals now have runners at first and second with no one out. And the batter is Gene Oliver. Gene doubled to drive in a run in the second inning. He is 1 for 1, batting at 195. It was Gene's home run last night that gave the Cardinals their 1-0 win for Ray Sadecki. There's a hard ground ball in the hole going through in the left field. It's going to score a run. Snyder up with the ball, goes to third. And coming in from second base to break the tie is George Hoffman. And coming out of the dugout is Casey Stengel. So the Cardinals have taken the lead here with 2 base hits. Another run batted in for Gene Oliver. The score is 4-3, and Casey comes to the mound. Incidentally, that game last night gave the win not to Sadecki, but to Ernie Broglio. Cardinals winning 1-0. Casey Stengel coming to the mound, and now while we wait to see what actually will happen, here is Bob with the scores around the league.
Okay, Ralph, in a day game that went 12 innings, Houston defeated the Chicago Cubs 6-5. The winner in relief was Hal Woodishick. Bruce started, Skinny Brown in the 5th inning. For the Chicago Cubs, Cal Kuhn started, Hobby in the 5th, McDaniel in the 8th, McDaniel the losing pitcher. Tonight, at the end of 3.5, the Braves lead the Pirates 1-0 on Henry Aaron's 14th home run. Bob Friend against Warren Spahn. The Phillies lead Cincinnati 2-0 at the end of 4. Cal McClish, who shut out the Giants his last time out, against Bob Perky. Later tonight, the Dodgers and Giants at Candlestick Park. At Yankee Stadium, Joe Pepitone has hit a 3-run homer in the last half of the 6th inning. The Yankees now lead Washington 5-3, batting in the last half of the 6th. Dave Stenhouse against Whitey Ford. Here are the warm-ups at Minnesota. Ray Herbert for the White Sox. He has been fantastic. And Dick Stigman for the Minnesota Twins. The red-hot Baltimore Orioles now have added a home run by Russ Snyder in the 8th inning with a man on. They lead Cleveland 7-1 at the end of 7.5. The Orioles have won 9 of their last 10. They have Mike McCormick on the mound. Barry Lattman relieves Sam McDowell in the 7th inning. Earlier in the game, Brooks Robinson hit a 2-run homer. Detroit leading Boston 2-0 after 3.5 on a 2-run homer by Al Kaline. Bill Monbouquet for the Red Sox and Hank Aguirre pitching for Detroit. On the West Coast tonight, Kansas City meets the Angels in Los Angeles. Well, Ralph, we can well imagine the number of writers and friends that must have surrounded Gil Hodges tonight in Yankee Stadium.
Well, of course, Gil, one of the most popular ball players to ever play baseball, and now the manager of the Washington Senators. He lost his first game by a score of 6-0, but of course that doesn't mean anything either. Gil, a well-versed baseball player. He's made quite a study of baseball, and we certainly want to send our best wishes, Lindsey Nelson, Bob Murphy, and I, on to a real great guy, Gil Hodges. You know, millions say my beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. How about you? Right now, why not order up or open up a Rheingold Extra Dry? Well, it's going to be Ken McKenzie to pitch to Bob Gibson. Ken, coming in the game, has a record of 3 wins and 1 loss. He's a left-hander. He has runners at first and second, and Charlie Neal and Tim Harkness both at third and first looking for a possible bunt. Gibson was struck out by Roger Craig his first time up. He's a right-hand batter, and here's the bunt pitch right over the top of his head. He goes down flat on the ground. The pitch caught by Choo-Choo Coleman, a one-handed catch. Boy, that was right at the forehead. Gibson squaring around, was looking it right in the eye, right down the barrel, and that ball went right over the top of his head. He had to sit down in a hurry. 1-ball count to the right-hand batter. Boy, those are really tough to get out of the way of. Here's the pitch back. It's a bunt down toward first, picked up on the fly by Harkness, but both runners get back to their respective bases in time. No play for Tim, but out number 1. So Ken McKenzie has picked up 1 out for Roger Craig. Roger going out of the ball game, officially worked 3 innings. He gave up the 4 runs in the game to the Cardinals while allowing a total of 7 base hits. He struck out 1 and walked none. Roger, ironically, had not gotten a run while he was on the mound in 26 1/3 innings. Here tonight, he got 3 and couldn't stay in the ball game. Here's the batter, Kurt Flood. Kurt tripled his last time up. He is 1 for 2, a right-hand batter. 4-3, the Cardinals lead, and there's a bouncing ball foul down the third base line. Cardinals with 2 runs in the bottom half of the second after the Mets scored 3. Then they tied it up in the bottom half of the third, added 1 more right here in the bottom half of the fourth. The Mets have 1 out. McKenzie sets and comes back to the plate. In front, lines one into right field, a base hit. Green Bull coming over, picks it up. Scoring from second base is Javier. Going to third on the play, Gene Oliver. The Cardinals have their 5th run of the game. That was a line shot down the right field side. Tim Harkness at first base, who was playing off of the bag, couldn't get to it. The ball was hit that hard. And now the Cardinals lead by a score of 5-3. Mets have 1 out, and the batter will be Dick Groth, who has a double and 2 times up. charge to Roger Craig. He has been charged now with 5. A base hit, of course, going against Ken McKenzie. Runners at first and third. The infield playing back for a possible double play. Dean Oliver at third base, a slow man. Blood very fast at first. The pitch by McKenzie is a fastball high and inside to Grote, ball 1. Jay Hook now throwing for the Mets in their bullpen. Cardinals with 2-1-2 in the last 3 innings. Out in front 5-3. Roger got off to a start. He had 3-0 lead, but couldn't hold it. Now the pitch back is high for ball 2. 2 balls and no strikes to Dick Grote. Dick drove in a run his last time up when he doubled to right center field to score Kurt Flood from third base. The RBI for Dick is 21st. He's batting .341. Here's the pitch to Dick. Fastball outside. A play on at first base, but Flood beats the tag. Count now 3 balls and no strikes. I kind of doubt very much if that was a pitch out. The ball was off the outside part of the plate down around the knees. And at 2-0, it's a pretty tough time to put a pitch out on. Play was executed a little bit like a pitch out, though. 2-2 Coleman, the catcher, giving the sign. Flood leading off at first. The on-deck batter is Bill White. Here's the set position. And the 3-0 pitch is looked at for ball 4. That'll load him up. Flood moving on down to second base as Grote gets first base free. Dean Oliver on at third and Bill White now coming up. First walk of the game issued by the Met pitchers. Roger Craig on the losing side, the pitcher record right now. He worked 3 innings. And McKenzie in relief right here in the bottom half of the 4th. Bill White, a left-hand batter. Bill is 0 for 2. Infield back. There's a check in the swing, but it'll cost him a strike. Fastball up high. Strike 1. McKenzie looking for the sign. His first loss came his last outing. Now time call as Bill White moves around in the batter's box. Bases loaded for the Cardinals. They lead 5-3. There's a little handle pop-up down toward third base in foul territory, and the catch is made. Home plate umpire Al Foreman signaled that the infield fly rule is in effect, but the ball was in foul territory, and it was caught there. 2 men out now as McKenzie picks up Bill White, but now he'll have to work to Stan Musial. Stan batting with the bases loaded has a home run and 2 times up in this game. His 7th home run of the year. And McKenzie now winds and comes to the plate. With a curveball, it's a strike call. One strike count. The outfield shaded toward right field against Stan the man. McKenzie, a long look now, gets set and comes to the plate. There's a swing and a miss for strike 2. Ken way out in front, 0-2 to Stan Musial. Stan Musial with a lifetime total of 9 Grand Slam home runs. National League leader is Gil Hodges. He had a total of 14. Gil now off the active list. 2-strike pitch to Musial. And there's a foul ball down the left field line out of play. count holds at 0-2. Gene Oliver on at third base. Kurt Flood at second. And Dick Groat at first. Cardinals with the bases loaded. They lead by a score of 5-3 here in the bottom half of the fourth inning. The Mets have 2 men out. Musial, the 8th man to bat in the inning. He waits patiently as McKenzie takes a long time. Now he takes too much time as Stan steps out of the batter's box. Stan in real good shape. It's amazing how he keeps his weight. Now he's back in. McKenzie looks again and now winds. Here's the pitch to Stan Musial. And it's just outside, ball 1. 1 ball and 2 strikes. That pitch breaking away from Stan, and Stan was going with the pitch. He was ready to hit it to left field if the pitch was over. Stan's home run in this game, a long one to right center field. One of the longest that you'll see him hit. Ball landing on the right center field pavilion on top of the roof. Here's McKenzie at 1-2, and there's a foul back on the screen. So the count of hold and 1 ball and 2 strikes. Boy, it's hard to believe that Stan has 470 career home runs. He's way up there. Of course, he holds just about every record in the National League books. He surpassed the Major League record for total bases this year. That was one he wanted. Stan having more total bases than even Babe Ruth. Now again, the 1-2 pitch, and there's a bouncy ball slowly hits the first base. It's down to Harkness. He drops the ball, but picks it up and throws to McKenzie in time. Harkness came in on his knees, slid on his knees, then couldn't find the ball. He had to get up and pick it up, and they got Stan Musial by a step as Harkness threw to Ken McKenzie. Well, 15 years ago, he could have never got Stan. He lost the chance of keeping the rally going. In the inning for the St. Louis Cardinals as they sent 8 men to the plate. A total of 2 runs on 3 hits, 1 error, and 3 men were left on. And the score at the end, 4 innings of play. The St. Louis Cardinals 5, the New York Mets 3. Well, Bob has already given you the scores, so maybe he can give you another quick rundown of just the totals as we move along in this ball game. Here's Bob Murphy.
All right, Ralph, the Braves picked up 1 more in the 4th inning. They lead Pittsburgh 2-0 after 4.5. Friend against Bond. Phillies 2, Cincinnati 0 at the end of 5. McCutch against Perky. In the American League, they go to the 7th inning at Yankee Stadium. Yankees 5, Washington 3. Ron Klein has relieved Dave Stenhouse. They're underway in Minnesota. No score at the end of 1. White Sox 0, Twins 0. Herbert against Stickman. Last of the 8th inning in Cleveland now. Orioles 7, Cleveland 1. Lefty Dave McNally has replaced Mike McCormick. 2-run homers by Brooks Robinson and Russ Snyder. Tigers 2, Red Sox 0 after 4. Monbouquet against the Gary Kalan, a 2-run homer. Not yet underway in Los Angeles. Now we go to the 5th inning here, and Ron Hunt comes up against Bob Gibson. New York now trailing by 2. The score 5-3. Ron hitless and 2 times up. Gibson winding. Here's his pitch. Fastball that's high. 1 ball and no strikes. Now Gibson over the head. Down comes the right arm, and the fastball is over, a call strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. The Cardinals have announced a pitching change for the game tomorrow. They had given Ray Washburn, but Washburn started against the Cubs on Wednesday. He went only 2 innings, but now it will be Ray Sadecki. A ground ball hit the shortstop, handled, booted by Dick Groat, and Ron Hunt is on. Groat trying to go off to his left to field the grounder, but is unable to come up with it. It's an error charge to Dick Groat. Now the hitter will be Duke Snyder. Duke has struck out and hit a pop fly taken by Julian Javier. 0 for 2. Gibson, hard-throwing right-hander off the stretch. Here's his pitch, a swing and a miss, strike 1. Tim Harkness on deck, and then Ed Kranepool. Casey has 4 left-hand batters in a row now to come up against Bob Gibson. Next pitch to Snyder, a grounder hit foul down towards Sally Hemus. And the count, strike 2 on Duke Snyder. Night before last, Duke hit a home run off his old Dodger roommate, Don Drysdale. For Snyder, it was his 7th of the year. One ball and 2 strikes. Snyder is now only 4 home runs shy of that coveted 400. Eddie Matthews reached number 400 this year. The 1-2 pitch, a swing and a miss. He struck him out on a high hard one. That is the 4th strikeout for Bob Gibson, and the hitter now is Tim Harkness. Tim has been up twice and on base twice. He was hit by a pitch in the 2nd, later scored, and he drew a walk in the 3rd inning. Here's the pitch to Harkness, a high fly ball hit to right field. It's fairly deep. It's right up against the wall. Waiting for it is the right fielder, George Hoffman, and he makes the catch for the out. Ball just barely shy of being a 2-run homer for Tim Harkness. Hoffman was back as far as he could go to take it. He went to the wall to get his location, then came back about 1 step to make the grab. Now there are 2 away, and the hitter is Eddie Cranepool. Eddie has drawn a walk, scored a run, and singled to right center field. 1 hit and 1 time at bat. Strike, fastball on the outside corner. Battle of left-handers tomorrow, Ray Sadecki and Al Jackson. Doubleheader on Sunday, and that winds up the road trip for New York, and they head home Sunday night. In the dirt, scooped out by Gene Oliver. 1 ball, 1 strike. So far this year, the Cardinals have played better on the road than they have at home. But they're here tonight to open a good homestand, and they hope to gain some ground in the National League race. Right now, they're 4.5 games out. Breaking ball down around the knees, 2-1 now on Eddie Cranepool. They are in much better shape than they were a year ago. They have been getting a real good pitching from Ernie Brolio, from Kurt Simmons, and from Ray Washburn. Pitching 2-1. Strike on the inside corner, 2-2 now on Ed Cranepool. Eddie making his first swing to the western half of the circuit as a regular player for the New York Mets. Count is 2-2 as he cocks the bat. Now the pitch by Gibson, inside and low. It's ball 3. Gibson throws a lot of pitches when he works in a ball game, but he is certainly strong and rarely tires. He packs 185 pounds on a 6'1" frame. Pitching 3-2. The runner goes. It's outside. Ball 4. And now the Mets have 2 men on. Eddie Cranepool has been up 3 times now against Bob Gibson and been on base all 3. Now with 2 men away and 2 on, Choo-Choo Coleman comes on to hit. Now has walked 5, struck out 4. Given up 3 runs, allowed 2 hits. Cardinals lead 5-3. Swing and a miss, strike 1. Choo-Choo batting at about 170. The outfield around toward right. Pickoff play, throw to second, not in time. Ron Hunt slides back safely. Dick Grote cutting in to take the throw from Bob Gibson as they tried to pick off Ron Hunt. First time Choo-Choo came up tonight, he got a hold of one, but he pulled it foul. It was out toward the upper deck. Pitch by Gibson. He lets up on this one outside. 1 ball and 1 strike. St. Louis, 5 runs, 8 hits. New York, 3 runs on 2 hits. We're in the top half of inning number 5. Pitching 1-1. And it's popped up on the right side of the infield. Calling for it, Bill White, the first baseman, and he grabs it midway between first and second to retire the side. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 2 left on. We've come halfway at the end of 4.5 innings to score. The Cardinals 5 and the Mets 3.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Think of Rheingold whenever you buy beer. It's not bitter, not sweet, it's the dry flavored treat. Won't you try extra dry Rheingold beer?
And now you can enjoy famous Rheingold Extra Dry in the new Chug-a-Mug. It's the first and only...
At the end of 4.5 innings to score, the Cardinals 5 and the Mets 3.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Think of Rheingold whenever you buy beer. It's not bitter, not sweet, it's the dry flavored treat. Won't you try extra dry Rheingold beer?
And now you can enjoy famous Rheingold Extra Dry in the new Chug-a-Mug. It's the first and only beer container with a wide mouth and a top that's so easy to open. Just pull the tab on top straight out, then straight up and off. You drink right from the Chug-a-Mug. No glasses, no opener, no deposits, no fooling. Chug-a-Mug holds the same and costs the same as the 12-ounce can. Buy it now wherever famous Rheingold Extra Dry is sold.
My beer is Rheingold, the dry beer. Chug-a-Mug is a new way to buy beer. Better get some today.
Chug-a-mug, what you say?
What a great way to drink Rheingold beer.
Now, before the Cardinals hit in the home 5th inning, let's pause for station identification.
810 on your dial, WGY Schenectady, the voice of the Mets in the great Northeast. The time now, by our General Electric clock, is 10:30.
Bob Murphy with Lindsey Nelson and Ralph Kiner from St. Louis, last half of the 5th inning. Kenny Boyer hits the first one foul back into the screen off Ken McKenzie, strike 1. Boyer singled to left center and popped out to Choo-Choo Coleman, so Kenny has 1 hit and 2 times up. Boyer hitting .304 has hit 5 home runs. A drive in the air to right field. Cranepool hurries back, reaches up, makes the one-hand catch. One away. That ball was hit hard to the opposite field by Ken Boyer. And the hitter now will be the right fielder, George Altman. Altman reached safely on a force play and later scored in the second. He reached on an error charged to Roger Craig in the 4th inning and later scored. So officially, George is 0 for 2, but has scored 2 runs. A high pop-up to short right field. Harkness backing down the line. He's right on the line. Makes the catch at the fair ball. 2 men down. 2 up and 2 center side. That brings on Julian Javier. Javier, a very fast man, batting at .270 with 4 home runs and 10 RBIs. Tonight, Javier has sacrificed to turn at bat, although he was actually bunting for a base hit, and then singled to left field. Cardinals 5 and the Mets 3. We're in the last half of the 5th inning. Ken McKenzie in relief of Roger Craig. Pitches a swing and a miss, strike 1. Jimmy Pearsall is wearing uniform number 2 tonight, but when the Mets get to New York to open their homestand, he will take as his permanent number 34. Next pitch by McKenzie. Way inside. Choo-Choo had to lunge for it. 1 ball, 1 strike. McKenzie with a 1-1 pitch. Javier whacks it foul. Back over the roof. It's out of play. 1 ball and 2 strikes. St. Louis, 5 runs, 8 hits. They've had 5 left on. New York, 3 runs on 2 hits, and the Mets have had 6 left on. pitch on the way, straightens him up. It's inside and high on the count even, 2 balls and 2 strikes. Last of the 7th inning in Yankee Stadium now. Yankees 5, Senators 3. Off the outside corner, and we have a full count, 3-2 on Julian Javier. Pitching 3-2. Way inside is ball 4, and Javier walks. McKenzie had him 2 strikes, but loses him, and Javier goes to first. That's the second walk in relief by Ken McKenzie, and it brings on Gene Oliver. Oliver doubled, driving in a run in the second, and he singled, driving in a run in the 4th inning. So Oliver has 2 for 2, 2 runs batted in. His 13th and 14th RBIs of the year. The runner, the pitch inside, the fake by Choo-Choo, safe. He steals the base. Choo-Choo's throw in the dirt, scooped out by Ron Hunt, but Javier slides in with a stolen base. 5 innings complete. Milwaukee 2, Pittsburgh nothing in Milwaukee. Phillies got 3 in the 6th inning at Cincinnati. They lead the Reds 5-0 after 5.5. Nothing yet on the Dodgers and Giants. Jay Hook goes back to work in the New York bullpen. Waiting. Fastball over for a call strike. 1 ball and 1 strike. They're in the 8th inning in New York now. Yankees 5, Washington 3. White Sox and Twins, no score at the end of 1. Cleveland got 3 in the 8th. They go to the 9th. Baltimore 7, Cleveland 4. Red Sox 3 in the 5th inning. They lead 3-2 over Detroit after 4.5. Change-up is over for a strike. 1-2 now on Gene Oliver. Ken McKenzie getting his sign from Choo-Choo Coleman. Javier, who drew a walk and stole second, leads off second base. There are 2 away. Pitching 1-2. A ground ball with a big hop to short. Fernandez takes a bad hop. Goes over his head and on into left field. Javier comes in to score, and the Cardinals lead 6-3. Fernandez backed off to play a long hop, and as he did so, the ball took a bad hop and went even higher and over his head and on into left field. Gene Oliver, the Cardinal catcher, now has 3 for 3 and 3 RBIs. Each time up, he has connected safely and driven a run in. He hit a home run in yesterday's game in Chicago, giving Brolio a 1-0 mound duel win over Dick Ellsworth. Bob Gibson, the batter. Ground ball raked foul down toward Vern Benson, the third base coach. Run scored is charged to Ken McKenzie. Cardinals now lead 6-3. Gibson, the pitcher, a right-hand batter, is up. Fly ball in deep to left field by Gibson. This one is going. It is gone. A home run. Bob Gibson belting a 2-run homer up into the left field bleachers, clearing the marker at the 358-foot mark. A 2-run homer for Bob Gibson. The year for Bob Gibson is now a 3-run inning for the St. Louis Cardinals. Gibson's a good hitter, and he has a lot of power. He came into the game hitting at 308. 3 runs in now for the St. Louis Cardinals. They now lead 8-3 in the last half of the 5th inning. Fastball over for a call strike to center fielder Kurt Flood. Now McKenzie out of his windup. Here's the pitch to Flood. A drive in the air to right field. In front of this one is Eddie Cranepool. Eddie has it, and the side is out. Inning number 5, 3 runs. There were 2 hits. No errors and none left on. Now at the end of 5, the score, the St. Louis Cardinals 8 and the New York Mets 3. Well, you know, it's mighty pretty this time of the year, and it kind of leaves you with one big impression. Nature is pretty wonderful. Yes, sir. Let nature take its course and things turn out excellently. The natural way is generally the best. This is true with beer, too. Beer brewed the natural way is more refreshing and it tastes better. Now, Rheingold Extra Dry is brewed the natural way. Yes, sir, it's the long, slow, costlier way, but it pays off in taste. A taste that's brisk and bright and clean clear through. That's why we say that Rheingold Extra Dry is beer as beer should taste. Now, look, why don't you do the natural thing? Enjoy a tall, foaming glass of Rheingold Extra Dry and discover the difference that dry makes. You'll be glad you did. Only remember to make it Rheingold. Rheingold Extra Dry. Now the ground crew has come out to manicure the infield at the end of 5 and will be going along to the 6th inning. Over the first 5 innings, scoring 8 runs on 10 hits with 5 left on. Charlie Neal now hoping to get it going against Bob Gibson, and the fastball is outside, 1 ball and no strikes. Charlie singled to center field in the second with the bases loaded, driving 2 runs in. His key blow put the Mets in front 2-0. A drive hit down the right field line is going foul, past the bullpen and into the seats. 1 ball and 1 strike on Charlie Neal. Right-hander Jay Hook has continued to warm up in the bullpen. Casey, for the time being, has Jay Hook relegated to the bullpen, hoping he can regain his sharpness. Fouled upstairs and out of play. Of course, Casey considers Jay valuable as a starting hitter, but also feels that if he had to use him in relief, he could be quite a relief pitcher. He throws hard, and when he only has 2 or 3 innings to go and can really go all out, he can really throw lightning. The 1-2 delivery, breaking ball outside, 2-2 on Charlie Neal. Charlie has to hit the dirt. It's inside and a high. He was knocked flat with that one. So we have a full count of 3-2. Now Gibson cranks up. In comes his pitch. A slow grounder tapped towards short. Handled by Dick Grote. Here's the peg on to White in time, and Charlie is out. One away, nobody on in the top half of the 6th inning. They'll break up Chico Fernandez. Chico, hitless and 2 times up, has grounded out second to first and been struck out. Now Rod Keneal has come out on deck to bat for Ken McKenzie. Ground ball hit down to third. Boyer backs off, snags the hop. Now the throw. In time, 2 men down. Rod Keneal coming on now to hit for Ken McKenzie, and Jay Hook will take over the pitching in the last of the 6th inning. Rod, right-hand batter, hitting at 133. Outside and low, it's ball 1. Jay Hook will be the 3rd pitcher used tonight by Casey. Gibson's pitch on the way. Off the outside corner, it's ball 2, 2-0. Rod's off-season home is Springfield, Missouri, and anytime the Mets are playing here in St. Louis, he usually has several members of his family on hand for the series. Now the 2-0 delivery. Ball 3 is outside, a 3-0 count on Rod Keneal. Jimmy Pearsall coming out on the on-deck circle. That's a strike on the outside corner, 3-1. Mets were held to 2 hits in their final game in Los Angeles by Don Drysdale. Both of them were home runs. That's over, strike 2, and the string is out, 3-2. 2 outs, nobody on. Gibson has not given up a hit since Cranepool's single in the 3rd inning. Fly ball in the air to right center field, cutting over George Hoffman. He's in front of it and makes the catch for the out. Side retired in the top of the 6th inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. At the end of 5 1/2, the score, the Cardinals 8 and the New York Mets 3. Well, tavern owners all over town have dusted off their welcome mats and given their glasses a little extra shine. Yes, sir, they're all set to welcome you during a National Tavern Month with the same friendly hospitality they show all year round. So be sure to drop into your neighborhood tavern soon. Plenty of relaxing atmosphere and always on hand. Plenty of cold, refreshing Rheingold Extra Dry. Fans, Rheingold is beer as beer should taste. Dry tells you why. It tells you that Rheingold is brewed the long, slow, costlier way for a taste that's brisk and bright and clean clear through. Now, what better way to salute National Tavern Month than with a glass or 2 of Rheingold Extra Dry. Enjoy some tonight. Now, Jay Hook will make his first relief appearance of the year after 8 starting assignments. Jay has won 1 and lost 5. This will be the first ball game that Jay has been in 8 days, and so he is in need of the work. In case Stengel wants to take this opportunity to let Jay get in some good work. Ken McKenzie worked 2 innings. Gave up 3 runs, 3 hits. McKenzie in relief walked 2. And he struck out none. So now it's Jay Hook, and leading off for the St. Louis Cardinals will be veteran shortstop Dick Groth. Dick doubled to right center in the 3rd inning. He drew a walk in the 4th inning, 1 for 2, batting at .341. Nobody on, nobody out. Last half of the 6th inning. Now Jay out of his windup. Down comes his pitch. And the fastball is over to Groth, strike 1. Tomorrow, 2 left-handers, Ray Sadecki against Al Jackson. Doubleheader on Sunday. Check swing and a bouncer out in front of the plate. Grabbed by Choo-Choo. The peg to Harkness in time, and Groth is out. 1 away, nobody on now in the home 6th inning. The hitter will be Bill White. Bill came in the game hitting at .312. He's 0 for 3 in this one. An infield pop fly, a fly ball to short right, and he fouled out to 3rd. Pittsburgh knocked Warren Spahn out of the box in the 6th inning. They scored 7 runs. Willie Stargell hit a 3-run homer. Pirates now lead the Braves 7-2 at the end of 5 1/2 innings. Strike 1 to Bill White. Pirates traded off veteran Bob Skinner to get a pinch hitter in Jerry Lynch to turn over an outfield post to young Willie Stargell. Now Jay Hook and Choo-Choo Coleman have a little get-together out between the mound and home. Outfield deep and around toward right. Off the outside corner, 1 ball and 1 strike. White lets it go, and it's off the outside corner. 2 balls and 1 strike. Cardinals with this game tonight are opening a good homestand. On this homestand, the Giants will be coming into St. Louis. And Johnny Keane feels his ball club has hit a good stride now. Now the 2-1 pitch. Inside and low, and it goes to 3-1 on Bill White. With a 3-1 pitch. Ball 4. It's inside and low, and White goes down to first. Now Stan Musial. Stan belted his 7th home run of the year, his first time up in the last half of the second. His home run made the score 3-1 in favor of the Mets. Since then, Musial has grounded out twice, so Stan has 1 for 3. Now White leading off first. The pitch to Musial way up high. 1 ball and no strike. It's all over in Cleveland. The Orioles beat Cleveland 7-4. Mike McCormick winning his first game in the American League. Sam McDowell losing. 2-run homers by Robinson and Snyder. A throw to first, not in time. Birds of Billy Hitchcock currently leading the American League tonight, win their 10th game in 11 starts. Off the outside corner, ball 2, 2-0. 1 out and 1 on, last half of the 6th inning. St. Louis 8, New York 3. Now Jay up in pitching position. Delivers. Up high, a peg to first by Choo-Choo. It's not in time. White gets back. And Hook has gone behind on Stan the Man, 3-0. Now the 3-0 pitch. That's over. Called. Strike 1. 3-1 on Musial. Let's play the infield around toward right against Stan. The outfield deep and also pull to right. There goes the runner. A high pop foul, maybe beyond reach. Running hard, Ron Hunt, foul ground, still running. Look out, Ron. Beyond his reach, lands on the warning path. Just beyond his reach after a long, long, long run. Bill White was running on the 3-1 delivery. He has to retrace his steps. Count is full on Musial now at 3-2. Cardinals have home runs in the game tonight by Stan Musial with the bases clear and with a man on by pitcher Bob Gibson. Now White edging away. There he goes. Here's the pitch. Fouled again. Back upstairs, no play. Once again, White will have to hurry back. Cardinal broadcaster Harry Carey with the big net out trying to catch the foul ball. Bill White getting in his wind sprints with Musial hitting on 3-2, leads off first base once again. A throw to first, not in time. It's all over at Yankee Stadium. Whitey Ford winning his 4th game of the year. Yankees 5, Washington 3. Losing pitcher Dave Stenhouse. Now Jay steps up. Big hit in the Yankee game was Pepitone's 3-run homer in the 6th inning. Whitey went all the way to win. There he goes. The pitch. Strike 3 called. A peg down the slide. He is out for a double play. Chico Fernandez putting the tag on Bill White. Musial was called out on strikes on 3-2, and Coleman's peg to Chico Fernandez makes it a double play. In the 6th inning, no runs, no hits, no errors, and none left on. So at the end of 6, the score, the St. Louis Cardinals 8 and the New York Mets 3. We'll be going along to the 7th inning, and all set to follow the action for you, Lindsey Nelson.
Bob Murphy. We'll be going here to the top half of the 7th inning. And the Mets, of course, will be going home on Sunday after the doubleheader here, and we'll be opening up at the Polo Grounds on Tuesday night. A big day coming up at the Polo Grounds a little later on is Old Timers Day on Saturday afternoon, June 22nd. The Mets and the Phillies will play the regularly scheduled game of that afternoon, but former Major League stars from the New York metropolitan area will be there for Old Timers Day. The American League stars against the National League stars. Keep in mind, too, that the Mayor's Trophy game between the Mets and the Yankees will be played at Yankee Stadium on Monday night, June 3rd. Tickets are on sale for that one right now at all Met ticket outlets. Jimmy Pearsall is at the plate for the Mets here in the top of the 7th. Bob Gibson winds and fires the pitches outside for ball 1. Pearsall has flied to center, walked and popped out to short. Chokes up a little on the bat. Here's the pitch. Outside for a ball. 2-0 now to Jimmy Pearsall. With the Cardinals leading the Mets by a score of 8-3. Pearsall waits, and the pitch is in there for a called strike. It's 2-1. In there again for a called strike to it. 2-2 now to Pearsall. He's leading off for the Mets. Mets have only 2 hits off Bob Gibson thus far. Here's a swing and a slice foul ball to the right side and out of play. Count holds at 2-2. Charlie Neal had a 2-run single in the 2nd inning. And Ed Cranfield had a single up the middle in the 3rd inning, and that's all the hits the Mets have off Gibson. Here's a check swing foul ball, an excuse me swing, actually. As Pearsall was turning to take it, and the ball glanced off his bat into the stands to the right side of the plate. The Cardinals 8, the Mets 3. That pitch is outside, and it's a full count now to Pearsall. Ron Hunt is waiting on deck. Gibson with the windup and the payoff. Pitch 1 on. That's a ground ball to short. Dick Grote over, up with it. Throws on to first in time for the out. Pearsall is grounded out. 1 away, nobody on base, and Ron Hunt is coming up. Grounded out pitcher to first, grounded out second to first, and was on Grote's error in the top of the 5th. Mets scored 3 runs in the top of the 2nd to take a 3-0 lead here tonight. But could not hang on as the Cardinals first tied at 3-3 and then moved on ahead and added to it as they lead 8-3. Bob Gibson with the pitch. It swung on and slammed foul into the upper deck back at first base. A strike 1 count to Hunt, playing before the home folks, as it were, here. He is a native Missouri. He's in his first season in the major league. This pitch is high for a ball. It's 1-1. Ray Washburn will be pitching tomorrow for the St. Louis Cardinals. It'll be the first ladies' day of the season here in St. Louis. And Al Jackson will be pitching tomorrow for the Mets. Bob Gibson with the windup and the pitch outside for a ball. 2-1 to Ron Hunt. Jimmy Pearsall joined the club. Chris Canizaro was sent to Buffalo, and Sammy Taylor was recalled and should report tomorrow, and then somebody else will have to be cut to make room for him. There's a pitch high. 3 balls and 1 strike. Ron Hunt outside the batter's box for the moment, looking down to Cookie Lavagetto. Still doesn't have his sign straight. Cookie runs him through again for it. Now he steps in. Gibson winds and fires, and the pitch is high, and he walked him. So Ron Hunt goes to first for the base on balls number 6 issued by Gibson in this game. And that brings up Duke Snyder. He struck out swinging, popped to second, and struck out swinging. Snyder's a left-hand batter. Gibson now sets. Hunt leads at first base, and the pitch is high and tight for ball 1. Tim Harkness waiting on deck. is a swing and a ground ball foul. Fielded by Salihimas on the coaching lines at third. It's a 1-1 count to Snyder. A group of Met fans here tonight in St. Louis with assorted equipment, including a wash tub, turning their immediate attentions to Let's Go Duke. Pitch is swung on and foul backing out of play. It's 1-2. One man out on a runner at first for the Mets, batting in the top of the seventh. Gibson is up and set. The pitch is outside for a ball. It's 2-2. Cardinals starting the night in third place in the National League standings. 4.5 games out. Again, Gibson set. Here's the 2-2 pitch to Snyder. Swung on. It's a ground ball to the right side, taken by White. He's going to have to go to Gibson at first, in time for the out. As Hunt moved on to second. And now, in order to allow our stations to identify themselves, we pause for station identification.
The voice of the Mets in the great Northeast, WGY Schenectady. It's 11 p.m.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy in St. Louis, Missouri. Tim Harkness up for the Mets with Hunt at second base and 2 men out. Bob Gibson with the pitch lets up in there for a called strike. The Cardinals are leading here by a score of 8-3. Harkness was out of action from last Saturday until Wednesday with a turned ankle. Strike one pitch is fired tight at 1-1. Ed Cranepool is waiting on deck. Now Gibson is up and set. His pitch way inside. 2 balls, 1 strike. In the second inning, when the Mets got their 3 runs, and again in the third, Harry Panik was throwing in the bullpen. But Gibson since has settled down and still has allowed the Mets only 2 hits. That one's fired high, and it's 3 balls and 1 strike now to Harkness. Gibson has struck out 4 and walked 6. Mets loaded the bases in the top of the second when Harkness was hit by a pitch ball. Cranepool walked, Coleman walked, and then Charlie Neal got his 2-run single. Gibson sets. The 3-1 offering is low, and he walks Harkness. Walk number 7 given up by Gibson. So Harkness goes to first, Hunt holds at second, 2 men out, and Ed Cranepool's coming up. Cranepool has walked, singled, and walked, so he's been on 3 times tonight. Runners lead at first and second. And here's the pitch. Swung on. It's a ground ball going towards second base. Had to be played in a hurry by Javier, and he plays it in time, just in time to get Cranepool. So in the top of the seventh, the Mets got no runs on no hits, no errors, and 2 left. And at the end of 6.5 innings in St. Louis, it's the Cardinals 8, the Mets 3. And now a word from Viceroy Cigarettes.
We're the Brothers Ford. We're singing out a Viceroy melody about Viceroy's brand new slide top case, as modern as can be.
Now Viceroy sets the pace with the one and only slide top case. Slides right open, slides shut tight. The crush proof slide top case. That's right, that's right, that's right. Slide, take a light. Slide shut so tight. Slide top case exclusive. New. It's the only crush proof case for you. The latest is the Viceroy slide with the case that's right, right inside. Slides right open, slide shut tight. The Viceroy slide top case that's right. Viceroy tastes the way you'd like a filter cigarette to taste. Not too strong, not too light. Viceroy's got the taste that's right. That's right, that's right. Viceroy.
We're going to the bottom of the 7th, and the Cardinals will send up Ken Boyer. He has singled, popped out to the catcher, and lined out to right field. Jay Hook, the third Met pitcher of the evening, is working here. Pitch swung on, and it's going up the middle for a base hit. Pearsall in, up with it, plays it back in, and Boyer turns and holds with his second hit of the game. Left-hand batter and right fielder George Altman coming up. Has hit into a force play on an error by Craig at first in taking a throw from Tim Harkness and popped out to first base. Jimmy Pearsall moving way over toward right now. On the left-hand batter, George Altman. Pitch is inside for a ball. Pearsall said, of course, that one of the toughest jobs he'd have the first time around is learning the hitters, learning positions. And, of course, in a case like that, you have to depend on your teammates and on your bench to instruct you about what you don't know. Hook with the pitch low for a ball. It's 2-0 to George Altman. Absolutely no wind blowing here at the moment. The flag on the flagpole in center, motionless. Temperature at game time here tonight was 56 degrees. Here's a swing and a miss by big George Altman, 2-1. It was a gray, threatening day here in St. Louis, and there was some rain at various times throughout the day. We have had none during the course of this ball game. 2-1 pitch. It's swung on, popped up foul back at third. Neal gives it a run. Might have a play. He's the edge of the warning track and makes the catch. No advance by Ken Boyer at first. Julian Javier coming up. Credited with the sacrifice in the second inning when he actually bunted for a base hit but moved a runner up as he was thrown out. He singled in the 4th and later scored. Walked, stole a base, and later scored in the bottom of the 5th. It's the Cardinals 8, the Mets 3. Swing and a ground ball foul. You know, ball players have various personal habits with equipment. Javier, for instance, with the batting helmet on, puts his cloth cap in his hip pocket. Many ball players do that. Others, like Pearsall, for instance, simply put the helmet on over the cloth cap. As the pitch swung on and pops up towards second, Rush goes out in short center on the outfield grass. He makes the catch. No advance by Boyer at first base. 2 men out, and catcher Gene Oliver's coming up. He's been the big man at the plate tonight for the Cardinals. He has been up 3 times as a double and 2 singles, and he has driven in a run each time for a total of 3. In case you've joined us along the way, Stan Musial homered his first time up here tonight for the Cards. Number 470 as far as career totals are concerned. Ken Boyer leads off the bag at first base. Swinging a foul ball, back and out of play. Strike 1 to count. At the end of this half inning, we'll bring up to date on scores of all the other Major League ball games, the one played this afternoon and the many played tonight. Again, Jay Hook with the pitch. It swung on and popped up. Another diamond. Charlie Neal coming fast. Neal is called, and he makes the catch halfway between home plate and the mound. So in the bottom of the 7th, the Cardinals got no runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 left. And at the end of 7 innings in St. Louis, it's the Cardinals 8 and the Mets 5. And now to bring you up to date on scores of other games all around the Major Leagues, here is Ralph Kiner.
Houston Colt 45 defeated the Chicago Cubs by a score of 6-5 in 12 innings, and the Cubs will be coming in to open up the coming-up homestand. The Mets playing the Cubs on May 28th, the night game, and a doubleheader, a big doubleheader, Memorial Day and May 30th. Pittsburgh Pirates, with 7 runs in the 6th inning, have taken over the lead from Milwaukee by a score of 7-2 after 6.5 innings of play. Warren Spahn knocked out of the box. Bob Friend still pitching for the Pirates. Hank Aaron and Stargell home runs in that one. Cal McClish has given up only 1 run through 8 innings. He leads by a score of 5-1 after 8. The one by Gonder, home run in the 8th. Worthington now pitching for the Philadelphia, should say for the Cincinnati Reds. McGrish against Worthington. Los Angeles scheduled at San Francisco. It's going to be Sandy Koufax, the ace left-hander for the Dodgers, against Warren Marichal, the ace right-hander for the San Francisco Giants. In the American League, the New York Yankees, behind Whitey Ford, winning his fourth game, defeated Washington 5-3. Osborne and Pepitone home runs. At Minnesota, Chicago leads 2-1 after 4. Herbert and Stigman in that one. And Baltimore defeated Cleveland 7-4 to win that and stay in first place. Boston 4, Detroit 2 after 6.5, and Kansas City scheduled at Los Angeles.
All right, Ralph, here's the pitch to Choo-Choo Coleman. It is swung on and fouled off for strike one. In the top half of the 8th inning now is the Cardinals holding a 5-run lead over the Mets, 8-3. Bob Gibson started. He's come all the way. And here's the pitch. He tries to drag bunt a little hard. It's to Bill White. He bobbles it, picks it up, place to Gibson just in time. And the call now is safe at first base. The call is safe at first base by umpire Tom Gorman. And Gibson is protesting vehemently. Gibson protesting as Choo-Choo Coleman comes back to the bag.
Defeated Cleveland 7-4 to win that and stay in first place. Boston 4, Detroit 2 after 6.5, and Kansas City scheduled at Los Angeles.
All right, Ralph, here's the pitch to Choo-Choo Coleman. It is swung on and fouled off for strike one. In the top half of the 8th inning now is the Cardinals holding a 5-run lead over the Mets, 8-3. Bob Gibson started. He's come all the way. And here's the pitch. He tries to drag bunt a little hard. It's to Bill White. He bobbles it, picks it up, place to Gibson just in time. And the call now is safe at first base. The call is safe at first base by umpire Tom Gorman. And Gibson is protesting vehemently. Gibson protesting as Choo-Choo Coleman comes back to the bag. Umpire Tom Gorman made the call, and he called safe as Gibson came across to take the toss from White. It was a drag bunt attempt, hit pretty hard, actually, and White came over to play it, bobbled it, picked it up, and played it to Gibson, and it is scored as an error on Gibson. It is an error on Gibson. Takes the throw at first base as the call was safe. That will bring up Charlie Neal. That is a pitch high for ball one. The Mets with just 2 hits off Gibson. But one of them was a 2-run single up the middle by Charlie Neal. Action in the Met bullpen. Right-hander Tracy Stallard up and throwing. There's a pitch swung on. There's a base hit in the hole into left field by Charlie Neal. Choo-Choo Coleman's on the way to third. Musial's throw way off the line, and Choo-Choo pulls in safely. So the Mets have runners at first and third. Charlie Neal with the second base hit of the ballgame on the ground. In the hole between short and third and on out into left. Musial came in, scooped it up, and just sort of half-winged it over there and up the line. So this brings up Chico Fernandez, the Mets shortstop. And we're going to get a little action down in the Cardinal bullpen. Harry Fanick's been up twice down there tonight. But that was in the early innings, and he's generally considered a long man. Here's the pitch down low for a ball. So now we're going to get Bobby Schantz. Little Bobby Schantz, left-hander, throwing in the bullpen now for the Cardinals. They lead by a score of 8-3. The Mets have runners. At first and third, nobody out. Gibson now comes set, and here's the pitch to Fernandez. It's in there for a called strike. It's 1-1. The Cardinals came into this ballgame with the worst home record of any team in the National League. They had won 7 and lost 8. The Mets came in with the worst road record. Won 4 and lost 18. Ron Taylor is up and throwing in the bullpen along with Schantz now for the Cardinals. Swing and a ground ball foul toward third. Cookie Lavagetta, one-handed coaching line for third. So it's 1 ball and 2 strikes to Fernandez. With Neal at first and Choo-Choo Coleman at third. And Cliff Cook has come out on deck now for the Mets, with Jay Hook due up next. Gibson with a pitch. It is swung on and missed. That is strikeout number 5 for Gibson. He has walked 7, by the way. That is the second time tonight Fernandez has struck out, and Cliff Cook is batting here for Jay Hook. With 1 man out and runners at first and third, and the Cardinals leading by a score of 8-3. Cliff Cook is batting 129. He has 1 double, 2 home runs, and 5 runs batted in. Pitch is in there for a call, strike to Cook. Jim Pearsall swinging bats on deck for the Mets. Pitch is outside for a ball. It's 1-1 to Cliff Cook. Mets trying to get a rally started here in the top half of the 8th inning. Big swung on and foul back onto the screen. 1-2. Cook settles himself in the batter's box. Bob Gibson gets his sign. Up and set. It breaks inside. It's 2-2. And with Jay Hook out of the ball game for pinch hitter Cook, Tracy Stallard is continuing to warm up in the Met bullpen. Pitch is high. It's a full count now to Cook. One man out. Neal at first. Choo-choo. Coleman at third. Neal takes his lead. Pitch is a call. Strike 3 on the outside corner. There's a throw to third. Choo-choo slides back in safely. Neal was not going at first with one man out. As Cook took the pitch, he is called out on strikeout number 6 for Gibson, and Pearsall comes up. 2 men out, runners first and third. Jimmy Pearsall tonight in his first appearance in the National League. His first appearance as a New York Met has flied to center, walked, popped out to short, and grounded out short to first. Gibson's pitch swung on, and it's going into center field for a base hit for Pearsall. Coleman comes on to score, and Neal is going on to third. Flood up with the ball, plays it in. Runners at first and third. Jimmy Pearsall has his first National League hit, his first hit as a New York Met, his first run batted in, and the score here now is 8-4. Ron Hunt coming up for the Mets. Hunt tonight is grounded out pitcher to first, grounded out second to first, was on an error by Grote and walked. So the Mets get one, and they still have 2 on with 2 men out. Bob Gibson checks and deals. And it's low for ball 1 to Ron Hunt. Bobby Schantz and Ron Taylor still warming up for the Cardinals. Cardinals 8, the Mets 4. Now Gibson sets. Pitch is outside for ball. It's 2-0 to Ron Hunt. Duke Snyder is on deck for the Mets. Get one more man on there. It'll be a situation of tying run at the plate. Right now, Hunt waits for the 2-0 pitch. It's on the way. Fired low. It's 3 balls, no strikes to Ron Hunt. Gene Oliver steps out in front of the plate to fire this one back. Duke Snyder kneeling on deck. Gibson looks around. Hunt getting a sign from Lavigetto. Now the 3-0 pitch. Taken in there for a call, strike 1. It's 3-1. Hunt settles himself in there again. Gibson's pitch. Swung on, it's a little number, going back to the mound, taken by Gibson. He plays on over to White in time, and the side is retired. In the top of the 8th, the Mets got 1 run on 2 hits. There was 1 Cardinal error and 2 Mets left. So at the end of 7 1/2, it's the Cardinals 8, the Mets 4. If you like music, I think you'll love this.
The first right taste of Rheingold is what good food deserves. It goes with dips, potato chips, and even weird butter. sure to please when served with cheese. It's flavored, brisk, and bright. A sparkling glass of Rheingold beer enlivens up each bite. Alone it's fine, or when you dine, and next to food it's place. A glorious glass of Rheingold, it's beer and beer should taste.
Rheingold Extra Dry is brewed of the choicest ingredients, the long, slow, costlier way, for flavor that's brisk and bright and clean clear through. It's beer as beer should taste. Dry tells you why.
My beer is Rheingold, it's the dry beer. Think of Rheingold whenever you buy beer. It's not bitter, it's not sweet, it's the dry flavor treat. Won't you try extra dry Rheingold beer?
For the New York Mets, Tracy Stallard is in now. Tracy Stallard is the pitcher, making his 11th appearance of this season. He has worked 10 2/3 innings, in which he has given up 11 runs on 15 hits. He had won none and lost 3. Jay Hook worked 2 innings, in which he gave up no runs on only 1 hit. He struck out none and he walked 1. It's all over in Cincinnati. The Phillies have defeated the Cincinnati Reds 5-1. Cal McLeish with another fine performance. Give him a record of 3 victories and 2 losses as he threw a 4-hitter at the Cincinnati Reds. Bob Perky started, was the loser, with Zanny in the 6th, Susurus in the 7th, and Worthington in the 9th. Jesse Gonder homered in the 8th with nobody on for the Cincinnati Reds for their lone run of the game. So Perky now has won 1 and lost 1. Here is pitcher Bob Gibson up. For the Cardinals, he had a 2-run homer in the bottom of the 5th. Hit it into the seats and left. Facing hard-throwing right-hander Tracy Stallard. Swinging and a miss. Gibson tried to bunt in the bottom of the 4th and popped it up to Harkness at first, and in the 2nd inning he struck out. Colt 45 beat the Cubs this afternoon 6-5 in 12 innings. Pitch is outside for a ball. Chicago Cubs will be at the Polo Grounds next Tuesday night. The Cubs will be there for the big Memorial Day doubleheader next Thursday, May 30th. It's in there for a called strike. 1-2 to Bob Gibson. Tracy Stallard works deliberately on the mound. Here's a 1-2 pitch. Swung on and missed. Struck him out. Stallard's first strikeout. Matter of fact, the combined Met pitching effort this evening has achieved 3 strikeouts. Gibson twice. Stan Musial in the bottom of the 6th. Here's Kurt Flood coming up. Hopped to first, tripled, singled to drive in a run, and flied to right. There's a swing and a drive to right, and coming on his single, can't get it. He one-hopped it, plays it back in. And Kurt Flood turns and holds with his 3rd base hit of the game. With 1 man out, Dick Grote is coming up. He had a double to drive in a run in the bottom of the 3rd. Otherwise, he is grounded out, walked, and grounded out. Say, May is National Tavern Month, and especially good time to visit your friendly neighborhood tavern and enjoy a glass of Rheingold Extra Dry. Pitch is swung out and missed. Strike 1. Cardinals 8, Mets 4 in the bottom half of the 8th inning. First game of a 4-game series between these two teams, and this series will wind up the rather lengthy road trip of the Mets. That pitch is high. It's 1-1. Leads, and here's the pitch. Swung on and missed. 1-2 to Dick Grote. You know, Ralph Kiner, I never knew until tonight that you and Dick Grote were roommates at one time.
Yes, I caught Dick as he came up to the Pirates in 1952 out of the University of Duke, and he and I spent a little time together. He talked a little basketball, and we didn't have much to talk about with the 52 Pirates, you know, when it came to baseball. We lost 112 games that year. All right, he's in and waiting. Here's a 1-2 pitch. It swung out and missed. He struck him out. So there are 2 men out. Talent has 2 strikeouts here in the bottom of the 8th, and Bill White will be coming up. White has popped second, fly to right, fouled out third, and walked. Here's one driven into center field. Pearsall coming up. It curves away from him. He cuts it off on one hop. Wheels and throws, and moving on to third is Kurt Flood. And Bill White has singled to center. That was a line shot curving away. Pearsall had no chance. Pick it up. It's curving away from him. He one-hopped it, played it back in. With 2 men out, of course, Flood was moving, went on to third, and here's Stan Musial up. He homered in the bottom of the second, grounded out, and struck out third. Alex pitch is inside for ball 1. Lead at first and third. And it's outside for a ball. 2-0 to Musial. The pitch, high and away. 3 balls, no strikes to Musial. With Ken Boyer on deck. Sign. Here's a 3-0 pitch. It's low, and he walked in, and the bases are loaded right now in order to allow our stations to identify themselves. We pause for station identification.
810 on your dial, WGY and WGFM, Schenectady, the General Electric stations, the voice of the Mets in the Great Northeast. The time is 28 minutes until 12 midnight.
This is Lindsey Nelson with Ralph Kiner and Bob Murphy in St. Louis. Duke Carmel is running for Stan Musial. Carmel running for Musial with the bases loaded, 2 men out. Paid attendance here tonight, 6,052, 6052. That pitch is outside for ball. Larry Bernard is throwing in the bullpen now for the Mets. The count to Boyer. Swung on and lined into right field for a base hit. Kurt Flood comes on to score. Bill White is rounding third. He's coming on to score. Carmel pulls up at third base as the throw comes in from Cranepool. And standing up with a double at second is Ken Boyer, and 2 runs batted in. And the Cardinals lead 10-4. Carmel is at third. Ken Boyer is at second. 2 men out. Left-hand batter George Hoffman is up. Cardinals 10, Mets 4. It's in there for a call, strike 1. Coming on. Snyder's there, and he makes the catch for the out. So an opposite field fly ball off the bat of left-hand batter George Hoffman to Duke Snyder in left. Retires the side. In the bottom of the 8th inning, the Cardinals got 2 runs on 3 hits, no Met errors, 2 men left, and at the end of 8 full innings, it's the Cardinals 10 and the Mets 4. Well, undoubtedly, you've heard the new official song of the New York Mets entitled Meet the Mets.
It's played before each of our broadcasts, telecasts, and it was played out at Dodger Stadium during the Dodger Mets series. And, of course, played at the Polo Grounds before each game and between games and doubleheaders. Now there is a 45 RPM recording of Meet the Mets available with a vocal on one side and an instrumental version on the reverse side. If you'd like a copy of the record, Meet the Mets, send $1 to Met Official Song. Polo Grounds, New York, 39, New York. $1 to Met Official Song. Polo Grounds, New York, 39, New York. We'll be going to the top half of the ninth inning here. Duke Snyder will be up to lead off for the Mets. Bob Gibson started and has come all the way for the Cardinals and has allowed the Mets 4 hits. Duke Carmel is staying in the ballgame. He came in a run from Musial, and Carmel stays in the left field for the Cards. For the Mets tonight, Pearsall has had 1 hit, Charlie Neal has had 2 hits, and Ed Kranepool has had 1. Here's the pitch to the Duke, and it's low for ball 1. Duke Snyder. His pitch is low for ball. Brushing off the plate. And the pitch inside for ball 3-0 to Snyder. In San Francisco, the Dodgers did not score in the top half of the first inning off Juan Marichal. Pitch is inside, and Snyder draws a walk. That is the 8th walk given up in this game by Bob Gibson. Here's the Mets a base runner with nobody out. First baseman Tim Hartnett coming up. Hartnett been hit by a pitch ball, walked, slide to right and walked. Gene Oliver, the catcher, has gone out to the mound for a moment. At Candlestick Park, Philippe Ballou has homered for the Giants in the bottom of the first with 1 man on. The Giants still batting and leading now by a score of 2-0. Minnesota, Harmon Killebrew has hit a grand slammer for the Minnesota Twins in the bottom half of the 5th inning, so that they lead by a score of 5-2 and are still batting. Time call here now, and manager Johnny Keane is on his way to the mound. See about his pitcher. Cardinal manager Johnny Keane. Meanwhile, Bobby Schantz is throwing in the bullpen. Cardinals lead by a score of 10-4. He's going to go to the bullpen right here. Perhaps Gibson came up with a blister or some such thing, because after examination, Johnny Keane has signaled to the bullpen, and Schantz is being brought on. Gibson walked Snyder on 4 pitch balls, and right away, Oliver went out. And then Johnny Keane came out, and after a little conversation and examination, Stein went to the bullpen. So, with a lead of 10-4, it would be our guess that a blister or something similar has occurred. Now Tim Hartnett steps into the batter's box with Snyder on at first and nobody out. And the little left-hander, Bobby Schantz, looks in to get his sign. Has it now. Kicks and fires. And the pitch is outside for ball 1. We'll be on the air tomorrow afternoon from right here in St. Louis at 2:25 p.m. New York time. There's a pitch in there for a called strike to Harkness. Snyder leads off first. White's not holding him on there with a 10-4 lead. Here's a swing and a miss. Pulled the string on him, and it's 1-2. Bobby Schantz has been to the baseball wars all around during his career. initially with the Philadelphia Athletics. There's a 1-2 pitch, and it's outside for a ball, 2-2. Larry Sherry has been brought on in relief of Sandy Koufax at Candlestick Park now, with the Giants still batting in the bottom half of the first, so they got Koufax out of there in a hurry. Here's 2-2 pitch, swung on and missed. So Schantz gets his first strikeout. Snyder holds it first. Ed Kranepool's coming up. He walked, single, walked, and grounded out second to first. Kranepool swings the bat as he waits. Pitch is swung on and missed. He took a lot off of that one. Schantz got Harkness out of there on 2 off-speed pitches. He's up and set. Pitch is outside for a ball. It's 1-1. Bobby Schantz came up, as we said initially, with the Philadelphia Athletics, went to the New York Yankees, then went to the Washington Senators, on to the Pittsburgh Pirates, to the Houston Colt 45s, and here to the St. Louis Cardinals. Snyder leads at first. The 1-1 pitch swung on and popped up in foul territory down the line at third. Boyer across the line waiting, and he's there for the catch. Snyder holds it first. 2 men out for the Mets, batting in the top of the ninth. That will bring up Jim Hickman batting for Choo-Choo Coleman. With the left-hander, Bobby Schantz in there, in case he's single, and decides to send up a right-hand batter, Jim Hickman, in place of left-hand batter, Choo-Choo Coleman. Jim Hickman subs himself into the batter's box. Schantz is set, and here's the pitch. Swung on and fouled off. It's strike one. Ray Washburn is scheduled to pitch tomorrow for the Cardinals, and Al Jackson for the Mets. And he takes his lead off first. Pitch is swung on and missed. It's strike two. The end of one inning of play in Candlestick Park in San Francisco. It's the Giants 5, the Dodgers nothing. They got 5 big runs, the Giants did, in the bottom of the first, and Philippe Ballou had a 2-run homer. There's a pitch swung on and missed. Strike three. Struck him out. Hickman goes down swinging to end the ball game. In the top of the ninth, the Mets got no runs, no hits, no errors. There was 1 left as the St. Louis Cardinals win the first one of this series. Keep in mind that the Mets will be at the Polo Grounds Tuesday night against the Chicago Cubs. And they will be there for a doubleheader on Memorial Day against the Cubs as well, and tickets are now on sale. Here at Busch Stadium in St. Louis, the Cardinals have taken the opening game of this series from the Mets by a score of 10-4, as the Mets had Jimmy Pearsall in the lineup tonight for the first time. He was batted in the leadoff spot, and he went 1 for 4 and a walk tonight. His first base hit as a Met came in the top of the 8th when he singled to center to drive in a run. Roger Craig started the ball game for the Mets. It had been 26 1/3 innings since the Mets got any runs for Roger Craig. They got him 3 in a hurry tonight in the bottom half of the second to go out in front by a score of 3-0. They loaded up the bases when Harkness was hit by a pitch ball. Kranepool walked and Coleman walked, and Charlie Neal singled to center to drive in 2 runs, and the Mets were out in front 3-0. But the Cardinals came right back as Stan Musial hit the 470th homer of his career to open up the second inning. They got 1 more there, and then came back to tie it up in the third and moved on ahead when they got 2 runs in the fourth and were never headed from then on. Bob Gibson worked 8 innings for the Cardinals before retiring, and he, of course, gets credit for the victory. He has a record now of 2 wins and 3 losses. Bobby Schantz coming out to finish up for him. Roger Craig took the loss. He has now 1 victory and 5 losses. So the St. Louis Cardinals have now evened up their home record. They have won 8 and lost 8 at home. The New York Mets have now lost 5 games in a row. Here are the final totals for tonight's game. For the Cardinals, 10 runs on 14 hits, 2 errors, 8 men left. The Mets, 4 runs on only 4 hits, 1 error, and 11 men left on base. So that just about finishes up another New York Mets baseball broadcast. Right now, I'd like to remind you to enjoy Viceroy cigarettes. In the familiar soft pack or the new slide top case, Viceroy's got the taste that's right. Now this is Lindsey Nelson saying so long for Ralph Kiner, Bob Murphy, for our statistician Matt Winnick, our producer Joe Gallagher, and our engineer Duke Williford, and for Rheingold. Rheingold Extra Dry. Those 2 little words, extra dry, tell you why Rheingold is beer as beer should taste. Why Rheingold is preferred by more New Yorkers than any other beer.